both out the rest of the season. Coach Todd Bowles says the Buccaneers need solutions. They need them fast, and there's nobody coming to save the day. On the offensive side, Bowles said today they need more consistent plays from everybody, and the problems aren't all on quarterback Tom Brady. But he is part of the problem, believes ESPN's Ryan Clark.
When you look at this team, it isn't just about everyone around him, it's him too, right? Tom Brady isn't playing at a high level. Tom Brady isn't leading at a high level. Tom Brady isn't conducting himself as the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at a high level.
Ryan Clark on Greeny. Chargers receiver Mike Williams has a high ankle sprain and will miss some time. P.J. Walker will remain the Panthers starting quarterback on Sunday against the Falcons.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
All right. Potato. I got all the details.
It's not potato and a potato, sir.
What's a potato? What is a potato?
I've never heard anyone say potato.
Potato.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one for the weekend. Tigers get a top 10 win in Death Valley. We will certainly get to that. Cole Cubelic next hour. Scott Shanle here in hour number 3. What in the world's going on with the Saints? Can they fix it? We'll talk about that with former Saints linebacker Scott Shanle coming up a bit later. Also, look, 1 hour from right now, can the Saints make the playoffs? We got to ask the question after the Bucs and the Falcons lost again. The Saints, who are terrible, are one game out of the division lead. So we got to have the conversation. We'll do it 1 hour from right now. Hey, look, you all know I was pretty adamant. Thought LSU would beat Ole Miss. They did. A lot of people congratulating me. Man, great pick, man. You nailed it. Come on. Look, I don't need congratulations for that. Picking LSU to win that game was akin to picking the sun to rise today. So this isn't so much about Ole Miss as it is about LSU. Now, I am really excited about Russ Mitchell coming on this show on Wednesday, who did tweet yesterday, 9 is the new 4. Look, a lot of people missed the mark on LSU, clearly. At this point in the season, through 8 games going into their bye, if we go back and look at preseason picks, I had LSU at 6-2. I had them, though, at 3-2 in the conference. I had Florida and Florida State swapped. I had them beating Florida State, losing to Florida. 6-2 doesn't surprise me. The 4-1 is a very pleasant surprise because if you had to switch those, wouldn't you? You'd give up the early season loss to Florida State to be 4-1 in the conference right now because after you beat down Ole Miss on Saturday, 45-20, the conversation about LSU rightfully changes. When you're sitting here right now at 6-2 overall, 4-1 in the league, you'll be going into November with a share of the West, and you're playing Alabama on your field a week from Saturday. All of a sudden, when people ask the question, hey, can LSU win the SEC West? Yeah, they can. You got a home game against Bama, who struggled on the road. And you got road games against Arkansas and Texas A&M, who don't look like half the team today that we thought they'd be in the preseason. So it's not just that you beat Ole Miss. I thought a lot of people thought they'd beat Ole Miss. I did. LSU was the favorite. It's how you beat Ole Miss. Beating them by 25. You bully balled them all over the yard for 3 quarters. It changes the conversation about LSU. SEC West, New Year's Six, college football playoff. Listen, I think all of that is far-fetched, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think LSU's going to the playoff, or I don't think LSU's winning the SEC West and going to Atlanta. But do you have to have the conversation today? You're damn right you do. Because we got 2 weeks of build-up toward a game in Tiger Stadium against Alabama that will decide the SEC West champion. And you get that game on your home field when you're playing good and you're healthy and you're peaking at the right time, yeah, it changes the conversation. But Saturday was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch that game, to watch LSU really continue to evolve and develop as the season has gone along. And the way the game started against Ole Miss, I even tweeted, it's almost comical at this point. Like, my buddy John Neighbors, who does radio in Arkansas, saw Ole Miss, get up 14 real quick. And he tweeted, man, that didn't take long. Ole Miss is up 14. I said, first time watching LSU all year? He's like, well, actually, since the first game of the season, yes. It was like, just stick around. They walk, and then they jog, and then they run, and then they sprint. And it's just what LSU has been all year, and they were again on Saturday. LSU was offsides on the opening kickoff. They were offsides on the opening kickoff. As much as we've talked about special teams, at this point, it don't even matter. It didn't even matter having that conversation. LSU was offsides on the opening kickoff and then allowed 5 plays. Ole Miss is in the end zone. It's just what they are. There's an 8-game sample to show this team does not start fast. If they ever figure it out, boy, that'd be a lot of fun. But they aren't. They don't start fast. You find yourself down 17-3. They kick a field goal in the first play of the second quarter. You're down 17-3. It's just what it is. And then from that point on, LSU outscored Ole Miss 42-3. It was incredible to watch that avalanche come the way it did. And look, early in the game, some of the stuff didn't go your way. There were 6 plays early, 3 on offense, 3 on defense, that if you highlight, you say, man, when all of those don't go your way, you start to wonder, is it going to be your day? Ole Miss goes up 7-0. LSU gets the ball in their first possession, and you have 3 plays that should have been touchdowns. The deep ball to Brian Thomas, which was underthrown. Now, you drew PI on it, but a better thrown ball, it's a touchdown. You get the goal-to-go situation. On second down, they throw the ball to Kayshawn. Beautifully designed play, where they had Kayshawn in the slot on the right, beat his man, he's open, and Daniels just overthrows him. And then on third down, you got Malik Neighbors open in the back of the end zone. He catches it, but the defender pushes him out of bounds. Any one of those 3 plays could have been a touchdown. You're tied. Instead, short field, you kick a field goal, and you're thinking, man, it'd been great to get 7 there. So you're down 7-3 on the next defensive possession. You get an interception that they wipe off the board because of a penalty. Dart throws another pass that hits Greg Brooks on the shoulder pad. He can't catch it, goes up in the air, and Sage Ryan lays out for it, can't quite get it. And then you have them stopped on 4th down, and they call B.J. Ojolari for pass interference, and ultimately they get in the end zone. Any one of those things go the other way, you get a stop. And you flip the momentum of the game. But instead, and then on your next possession, you miss a field goal. And then you hold them to a field goal, so it's 17-3. But the point is, early in the game, things weren't going LSU's way. But it's taught us a lot about this team. They're a mentally tough team that does not fragment or crumble when things aren't going well. That has literally been true since the first game of the season. When they played Florida State, they played horribly for 3 quarters, and then boom, once they caught their stride, here it came. I mean, I know I've heard a lot of people say it, and it's true. How much would you love to play Florida State right now? I mean, LSU would be a 2-touchdown favorite over Florida State right now. But it's the game you played early in the season. It's just what it is. So you just continue to improve, and LSU has. Jaden Daniels has got to be a huge takeaway, not just because he's played well, but he's becoming a force. The last 2 weeks, he's been a force. In Florida, 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 3 passing. Saturday against Ole Miss, he goes 21 of 28, completes 75% of his passes. He throws for 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a QBR of 85.4. Pro Football Focus put out their list of the highest rated passers from college football this weekend. It's a pretty good list that Jaden Daniels is on. The highest graded quarterbacks from this weekend, Sam Hartman from Wake Forest was number 1. Hendon Hooker was number 2. Bo Nix, who led the upset of UCLA, the win over UCLA, was number 3. Garrett Schrader from Syracuse, and then Jaden Daniels, 85.5, the 5th highest rated quarterback in the country this weekend. Jaden Daniels isn't just managing the game and protecting the football and making something out of nothing when there are busted plays. He is making big plays now through the air and on the ground. And the other thing, and I know Brian Kelly talked about this after the game, it's been designed runs for Jaden Daniels. It's creating this action that a defense has to respect. It's not just Jaden running when he's tucking to run. It's design plays where you better respect the quarterback's ability to run on this play or he can hurt you. And then you have backs and also pass catchers that can hurt as well. The defensive adjustments have been awesome. You shut out Ole Miss in the second half. You shut out Auburn in the second half. You held Mississippi State to just 3 points in the second half. And so much of it was pressuring Jackson Dart. And when LSU had a lead and Ole Miss couldn't rely on their running game, you saw what happened. But, man, LSU defensively, they punished Jackson Dart. 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 6 passes defensed, 7 quarterback hurries. That was such a part of the game in the second half was, hey, just go kill the quarterback. And they did. And they got him off his spot. They made him antsy. They hit him. They hurt him. They punished him. And LSU's got enough athletes off the edge to do that. And I would tell you the other thing is that they dominated the line of scrimmage. It wasn't just pressuring Jackson Dart. Ole Miss came in here with the number 1 rushing offense in the SEC, the number 3 rushing offense in college football. And LSU held Ole Miss to 117 yards rushing on 37 carries. He only had 3 rushes all day, more than 10 yards. It was a brilliant performance, and it's a matchup clearly that favored LSU. LSU's athletes in the front 7 are physical enough to play bully ball at the line of scrimmage. They're athletic enough to run sideline to sideline and make plays in space. It's why they were able to limit Mississippi State. It's why they were able to really handcuff Ole Miss. And it's why pretty much any matchup LSU is going to be favored with that defense, unless if there are dynamic skill guys on the outside, which Tennessee had, and unfortunately so does Alabama. We'll talk about it. But the flip side, and maybe the biggest kudos, has to go to LSU's offensive line and that running game, because that offensive line week 1 was atrocious. We all talked about it. And, through 8 games now, you've had 6 different starting combos, and you're probably going to get Garrett Dellinger back for Alabama. And if you do, that's great. Miles Frazier fit in perfectly the past couple of weeks. Your offense is churned, but you have really stabilized with the 2 freshman tackles and with Charles Turner in the middle, Bradford at right guard, and then whatever you've had to do with Dellinger or Frazier at left guard. But, man, the ability to just line up and run the ball when everybody knows you're going to run the ball and they can't stop it, that's demoralizing for a defense. And it's empowering as a team because it allows you to control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, control the game. And it was one of the things that Les Miles did so well for so long, where his teams were able to do that. What they weren't able to do was make plays through the air when they needed to make plays through the air. This clearly is a team that can do both. And they are fun to watch right now. So LSU beats Ole Miss 45-20. A great win at a great time for LSU, because now you go into your bye with a ton of good vibes off these back-to-back wins over Florida and Ole Miss, and it gives you time to heal. Armani Goodwin looked really explosive with his 8 carries. He gets 2 weeks to rest. They held John Emery because of a tweaked knee. He gets to rest. You would assume Jack Besh will be back. We already talked about Garrett Dellinger. Jaden Daniels ran the ball 23 times. He got hit a lot. He gets an extra week to prepare. And you give this coaching staff 2 weeks to prepare for an Alabama team coming into Tiger Stadium for what becomes, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it becomes basically the game for the SEC West. So just a massive opportunity coming up a week from Saturday, and an opportunity and I'm not sure many of you thought LSU would have going into November. But what a job this staff has done. The players buying in. and really getting rolling right now and finding their stride as LSU beats Ole Miss 45-20, and a lot of meaningful football ahead for this team. Not just the program as they start to build, but like for this team this year, which, man, I wasn't sure that was even going to be a thing this year, but here we are. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Our Monday shows, as always, are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, I'm going to knock out a quick break. Come back. Of course, there was no Saints game over the weekend, so that would be normally when we recap Saints. We've already done that. When we come back, I do want to talk a little bit about Harold Perkins specifically because of the impact he made in the game. A lot of you having questions and comments about him, and both Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin talking about Perkins after the game. I want to dive into some conversation about the freshman linebacker when we return on a Monday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, where you can always download the Rouse's app. Of course, you can get your personal shopper there at the Rouse's app. Download the app, select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick out your items for you. When you pull up into the spot, they'll bring it out to you. Hey, look, whatever it is that you're looking for, Rouse's has got you covered. You want dinner for the whole family tonight? You can do it at Rouse's. They got great hot and boiled options no matter what your flavor. If you're looking for surf or turf, they got you covered at Rouse's. Just walk into any Rouse's location, go to the left. You'll see all of the prepared options. And if you're having a game watch at any point or a tailgate, Rouse's can feed as many people as you got with whatever delectable you want. It's Rouse's. Of course, all your grocery items they got. You got your cold beer, your adult beverages, a full wine selection as well. It's always great to get by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints with curbside delivery and pickup options. They make it convenient for you at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Dart. Here comes the heat. He's going down at the 30. Tracked down by Harold Perkins, the freshman sensation.
Yeah, Harold Perkins pretty good at football, as it turns out. That was Harold Perkins' sack in the second half of the game against Ole Miss this past weekend. LSU beats Ole Miss 45-20. Actually, a trio of Tigers were honored by the league office, as we found out on Monday. Jaden Daniels was named Offensive Player of the Week. Harold Perkins was named Freshman of the Week. And Mekhi Wingo was named Defensive Lineman of the Week. Mekhi Wingo continues to be a huge story. I mean, the loss of Mason Smith on the first defensive possession of the season could have been cataclysmic because of how important and integral he was going to be to this team and that defensive line and how much that hurt your rotation. But, man, Mekhi Wingo has been a disruptor, not only as a passer, but also a pass rusher, but also in rush defense. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but in the second half of that game, LSU has started to change up their looks on the defensive front. Mekhi Wingo was actually playing some left end, and they went jumbo inside where they went Roy and Guillory on the inside. They had Wingo at left end and Harold Perkins at that jack on the right side. So, boy, they have really found some creative looks defensively. Matt House, and I assume Jamar Cain in on that conversation as well. But congrats to the LSU players, the 3 LSU players that were honored by the league office today. I do want to talk about Harold Perkins. A couple other things. World Series is set. We'll get Bregman against Aaron Nola in the World Series. That is an inherently really, really stinking cool thing. For me personally, the weekend, kind of a bummer. I mean, of course, LSU winning is awesome, and I'm fired up for Bregman, but had a pretty terrible gambling day yesterday, and then on top of that, the Yankees get swept, and then sorry, I'm pulling up this tweet, and then the Jazz beat the Pelicans in OT, and Zion got hurt, so there was a lot of not great this weekend. But this was a really cool tweet by Kennedy Landry. If you haven't seen it, Kennedy, who used to work for LSU Student Media, who's now covering Major League Baseball for the Rangers for MLB.com. She tweeted a picture of Bregman and Aaron Nola in their LSU uniforms holding an American flag, and the caption was just 2 guys facing off in the World Series. So, look, if you're an LSU baseball fan, you got to acknowledge that's pretty cool. As cool as it was to see Aaron and Austin face each other in the NLCS, to see you'll get to see Aaron Nola on the bump against Alex Bregman in the World Series, which is going to be really cool. So, World Series is set. That'll get underway this week, and you'll have an LSU Tiger win the World Series one way or the other. So we'll talk plenty about that as the week goes along also. All right, brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. You got locations from sea to shining sea. You know where to find them. They're online at Michelli.com. They are ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Remember, go to the website. It's a great resource. Go to the website, Michelli.com. You can hit the services tab. List of all the services. So many people say, well, I knew Michelli did scales. I didn't know you did that. So for a full list of everything they do, you can go to the website there at Michelli.com, and they are hiring as well. So if you're looking for a new job or a career change, great time to do it. Michelli celebrating 75 years in business, locally owned and operated. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, y'all. As we mentioned, Harold Perkins is named SEC Freshman of the Week, and boy, is that justified. What a day for Harold Perkins against Ole Miss on Saturday. He just continues to have big days seemingly every time he's on the field. Look, I can read the stat line to you, and here it is. Harold Perkins, 5 tackles. He had a sack, a TFL, 3 quarterback hurries. He has been really good pressuring the quarterback. The other part of it that's also, I think, undeniable is how Harold Perkins is altering the game. And I don't want to be repetitive because I know a lot of people have said and feel the same way. But I'll try to illustrate how Harold Perkins has affected the game in very real, tangible ways. We all know that he played 8 total snaps against Tennessee. By a mile, your worst defensive day. Now, I don't know that if Harold Perkins plays 50 snaps in that game, LSU wins it. I think you probably have a different result. The way the defense is playing now and the way that he certainly has and can impact a game with his ability to rush the passer. But on Saturday in particular, if you go back and you watch that game, LSU did not have Harold Perkins on the field for the first 2 defensive series. And Ole Miss scored in 5 plays on their first series. LSU, of course, would get a field goal. Ole Miss would put together a nice drive and score in 12 plays in their second series. That's where LSU had about 3 chances to get off the field and ultimately couldn't. And then on the third series, LSU had missed a field goal, so it's 14-3 Ole Miss. It's a very key point in the game. It's 14-3 Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is facing a 3rd and 8, and they convert. They convert on the 3rd and 8. And then after they convert on the 3rd and 8, on back-to-back plays, they went to Malik Heath in what would be first down passes for 16 yards and for 27 yards. So boom, boom, boom. Ole Miss is right down the field at the LSU 18-yard line. They're up 14-3. They're at the LSU 18. And at that point, LSU put Harold Perkins in the game. This is the sequence that followed. Quinshon Judkins ran for 1 yard. Jackson Dart threw a pass to Jonathan Mingo for 4 yards. And then Jackson Dart was stopped. He was dropped back to pass and was ultimately stopped for a loss of 1 yard. And they held Ole Miss to a 32-yard Jonathan Cruz field goal. I'm not going to say that sequence entirely transpired because Harold Perkins was on the field. But the more of a sample size we get, the more circumstantial evidence we look at, it goes to show you how much this dude is impacting the game. As a matter of fact, after the game, when Lane Kiffin was asked about the LSU adjustment, it's exactly what he said. Listen.
I mean, they did a good job. I don't think it was a lot of schematic. They started playing 40 more, which, we probably thought they'd eventually do because he doesn't look like anybody else out there. And, once you get behind on them, then the rushers can rush, and we kind of got one lopsided there, and that can happen, especially on the road.
But how did you get lopsided? And he's right. It's exactly what happened to LSU against Tennessee. The game got lopsided. LSU had to throw a bunch. They were able to bring a ton of pressure, and Jaden Daniels was sacked like 8 times in the game, or sacked 5 times, or 9 TFLs, whatever it was. You remember, it was terrible because they knew you were throwing because the game got lopsided. But how did it get lopsided? Against Tennessee, Tennessee kept getting stops. LSU was going forward on 4th downs and not getting it, not converting. And so you're not scoring. They're getting stops and building their lead. It's exactly what happened on Saturday in reverse. LSU started getting stops. After that Ole Miss, these are Ole Miss's possessions, right? After that made field goal. They went 3 and out, made a field goal, had the ball when they sat on at the end of the half, and here was their second half possessions. Punt, turnover on downs, punt, turnover on downs, end of game. There was an interception in there somewhere, but I guess unless they're saying that the interception was the turnover on downs was on a 4th down. But either way, the point is you got stops. That's how it got one-sided. And whenever you're up 11, 4 and then 11 in the third quarter and then 18, that's how the game transpired that way. And LSU was able to pin their ears back and come get them. But they were able to do that because they got stops earlier in the game and the offense started rolling. But here's the problem for Brian Kelly. And it's a good problem to have, make no mistake. And he essentially spoke to it after the game when Brian Kelly was talking about Harold Perkins the day he had against Ole Miss.
He was good. He's active. As you saw, it's hard to get him on the field as much, but we felt like it was really important to get him out on the perimeter because he can run things down and he's a very good pass rusher. He's an exceptional player. I think everybody knows that. But within our structure, some guys lose some playing time because of it, and some really good players lose some playing time. He's a really good player, and he impacts our defense, no doubt.
it's kind of an oxymoron to talk about what a great player he is and then to say it's hard to get him on the field. It shouldn't be hard to get him on the field. You just put him in the game. I mean, in the fourth quarter, this was late third quarter, when you were still in a 2-score game. You're still in a 2-score game. Harold Perkins, you're off the field, and Harold Perkins commits an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which was an absurd penalty, by the way. Like, if you're going to get a penalty for saying something, that's just freaking ridiculous. I don't even care what he said. It's ridiculous. But Harold Perkins comes to the sideline, and Brian Kelly is getting in his grill, and Perkins kind of starts to walk away from him. And Kelly grabs him, and you could read his lips, and he's like, do you want me to put you back in the game? Like, essentially saying, don't walk away from me, otherwise I'm going to have to leave you behind on the bench. I need you in the game right now, is essentially what he's saying. And by the way, even after the unsportsmanlike put him right back in, he didn't miss a play. Because you know how good he is, how much he impacts the game. The challenge, not a problem. The challenge for Matt House, for Jamar Cain, this week, and for 2 weeks getting ready for Alabama, is figuring out how to make sure 40 plays in 90% of your defensive snaps, to where the only way he comes off the field is if he needs a breather or, I'm not even going to say twist an ankle or anything, but like that's the only reason he comes off the field. Because you need him on the field every play. The sequence or the formation that I referenced where you had Mekhi Wingo at left end when they kicked Wingo out to left end. You went jumbo inside with Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby, and Guillory. Perkins is playing Jack. The problem is if Perkins is playing that linebacker spot, he's playing B.J. Ojulari's spot. So if Ojulari stays in the game at Jack and you want to keep Perkins in the game, well, then either Baskerville or Penn has to come off the field. And I don't want Baskerville coming off the field, and Penn's your biggest, strongest, most physical linebacker, but that's probably the guy that's got to come out. I really don't care how it looks or what you have to do, but he's just, and I'm not saying he's got to play like every single play, but you can have a rotation developed where you can make sure your best guys are on the field certain situations throughout that ball game, but that's a guy who we've seen it enough at this point. There's no reason to have him standing on the sideline. Like, he impacts the game. He had the interception against Auburn. He had pressures which forced turnovers in this ball game. He would have had a strip sack if it didn't get taken away from him against Auburn. Like, he's making so many plays that impact the game. He's just got to be on the field because at any point he could make that game-changing play where it forced a turnover, it's a sack, negative yardage, change of possession. You got to have him on the field. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because, man, I know LSU fans, it's the question I probably get asked the most. And in the first couple of series defensively, everyone's asking, where's 40? Well, they found him, and he made a huge impact again, and will continue to for the next 3 years. But that is not the problem. That is the challenge for LSU's coaching staff over these next 2 weeks, which is figure out how you get that dude on the field a lot more than you have to this point because he just has to play. All right, it's after further review. You can always join us. You can email us, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can,
Twitter world.
Thank you, Juice. Jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat and the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. If you're there, by the way, do us a solid. Please smash that like button. We appreciate it. And you can always text me in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400. All right, let me knock out a break, y'all. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC, and we will get to the recap of what to watch. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you what we're watching in our football weekend. On Monday, we come back. We recap what we saw, so we'll get to that coming up here in about 10 minutes from right now. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Of course, you've got 7 days left in October. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month throughout the month of October. Our friends at the Baton Rouge General Hospital remind and encourage all the ladies in our community and our lives to protect your pumpkins and go get that mammogram. By now, you should know the stat. 1 out of every 8 women, 1 out of every 8, will be diagnosed with an invasive form of breast cancer in her lifetime. So don't let that be you or the woman in your life, a mom, a wife, a girlfriend, a sister, a fiance, an aunt. For the ladies watching or listening, schedule that mammogram. Gentlemen, make sure you remind your wife, the lady in your life, if she hasn't done it yet, to go get that mammogram. brgeneral.org is where you can go to schedule or to learn more. Online, brgeneral.org.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shop a style.
Oh, yeah!
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We did get official word today. This is no surprise, but LSU Alabama will be Saturday night in Death Valley, 6 o'clock kick on ESPN. I say it often, but I'll say it again now. So seldom do we have the opportunity anymore in an era of every game on TV, outsized stadiums, bad in-game experience with traffic and parking and restrooms, everything everybody knows. Conversely, the great home viewing experience, to where it's rare. It's rare that you get a great matchup, a completely packed out stadium, a fever pitch, a full throat stadium where people are going to stay and make a difference. Tennessee had that a couple of weeks ago when Alabama went in. And LSU will a week from Saturday. 6 o'clock, LSU, Alabama, Tiger Stadium. And I'm going to remind y'all, I'm going to say this a lot over the next 2 weeks. Alabama has really struggled on the road the last 2 years. It's one of the biggest reasons why I give LSU a chance in this ballgame. LSU is going to be a big underdog. They're going to be a double-digit underdog. I think early lines have already been set at like 16 or so. But when you look at Alabama on the road the last 2 years, this year they already lost at Tennessee. They really were on the ropes against Texas. Texas missed a short field goal. Arkansas was within a 2-point conversion of tying that football game. And I get it, both quarterbacks got injured, so it was a bit odd, but Arkansas rallied in that game. A year ago, Alabama lost at Texas A&M. Auburn had him dead to rights. If Tank Bigsby stays in bounds, Auburn runs out the clock and Alabama loses, doesn't go to the playoff. They're a 2-loss team. They're not in the playoff. And then Florida. I mean, Florida had a 2-point conversion opportunity last year that would have tied the game as well. So Alabama has struggled on the road the last 2 years. That is an undeniable reality that has faced Alabama, has been their road struggles the last 2 years. Now, they keep finding ways to win most of them. They just lost one a year ago. They've lost one so far. But, boy, you better believe that's going to be a really competitive game a week from Saturday in Tiger Stadium. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. You want to wager on that or any game you can over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. It is officially NBA season, y'all. Remember, right now, new customers download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Make a $5 moneyline bet on any NBA game, and if your team wins, they'll give you $200 in free bets, no questions asked. But it's not just the NBA. It's anything. You have Monday Night Football tonight. You got college basketball right around the corner. You got Tuesday night action about to get started as well. You want to bet on international basketball or soccer or any darn thing, you can do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Remember, use the promo code Baton Rouge to unlock great specials like that $5 wager, a moneyline wager on any NBA game. If your team hits, they'll give you $200 in free bets only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem. Call 1-877-770-STOP. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Nick Saban was asked after the game about his decision not to suspend wide receiver Jermaine Burton, who was seen striking a woman on the field after Tennessee fans rushed after their win over Alabama. Saban said, quote, "I didn't think it was necessary to suspend the guy. If you knew the whole story, maybe you wouldn't either, but I'm not going to divulge that." Saban did add that Burton is in a counseling program, although it is not an anger management program. Burton had 2 catches for 40 yards in Alabama's win over Mississippi State.
The Auburn Tigers.
Defensive tackle Zykevious Walker, no longer part of Auburn's football team. He's a former big-time recruit, man. Walker, 6'4", 304, was a 4-star recruit in 2020, was a top 100 prospect nationally, ranked 79th overall in the composite. He's a junior from Georgia, has been removed from the roster, appeared in just 1 game this season for his career, played in 21 games over the last 3 seasons with 1 start.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia's off week gave a number of key players a chance to get healthy before their game against Florida this coming Saturday. Jalen Carter missed the last 2 games with an MCL injury, and Georgia has largely been without A.D. Mitchell since the first play of the win over Samford. Hopefully we'll get both guys back this week against Florida. Also, running back Kendall Milton picked up a groin injury in the win against Auburn. He is hopeful to play this week against the Gators. Bulldogs enter the toughest part of their schedule. It's Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky over the next month.
The Florida Gators.
And speaking of the annual Florida-Georgia rivalry, the game has been played in Jacksonville every year since 1993 with just 2 exceptions. Jacksonville City Council on Monday morning indicated Jacksonville City Council, approved a deal to keep Florida-Georgia in Jacksonville through 2023 with an option to renew through 2025. Neither program, however, say they're focused on the long-term future of the rivalry, specifically with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the SEC, and they're not sure what future scheduling models will look like. For the game this weekend, Florida is a 22.5-point dog. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you always get at Gulf Coast Office Products, an official office equipment provider of LSU Athletics, a proud national leader among Savin dealers, but they will service all different makes and models. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. gcopnet.com. All right, it is After Further Review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 1. When we come back, Amuse, Paulie, and I every Thursday tell you what we're watching in the football weekend. We will recap how it went when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare.
All right, we're back. Wrapping up hour number 1 of AFR. We'll get to Cole Cubelic here in about 25 minutes from right now. Scott Shanle in hour number 3. Remember, you can always text the show on the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400. Earl Lytle sent a text, said, Matt, is Jaden Daniels back next year for LSU? It's a good question. I got asked that an awful lot this weekend. What I will tell you, and what I have repeated often, is when when Jaden Daniels committed to LSU, everybody that I talked with that covered him at Arizona State said the same thing. It was pretty understood when he was coming out of California as a top 50 overall prospect in the country that he was going to be a 3-and-done guy, 3 in the league. Had a great freshman year at Arizona State. His sophomore year was COVID in 2022. And so that really, they played maybe like 6 games. It was just an abbreviated season. They had long layoffs with, games being postponed and all that sort of stuff. So you basically flushed his sophomore season. And I think you've seen now what a disaster Arizona State was. Herm gets fired. There are reports of people internally leaking game plans. You had transfers, probation looming. I mean, it was terrible. It was all of the culture and everything had eroded there. It was very toxic, similar to what things were like here. And so, whereas in his mind, he was always going to be 3-and-done and did test the draft waters a year ago, ultimately decided to come back to school and play another year. But when he came here, the idea was he was coming for 1 year. I mean, he was a 1-year rent player, mercenary, and then he was off to the league. Now you're in a really interesting situation. So you probably saw it or if you watched the game on Saturday, which I'm guessing many of you did, Gary Danielson at one point on the CBS broadcast mentioned how in their conversation with Jaden Daniels, he talked about potentially coming back, being a Heisman candidate, sort of the Joe Burrow route, which is what Joe did, of course, as we all know. Transferred in from Ohio State, played 2018, got better as the season went along, and 2019 was the kaboom, and he became the first overall pick, and we know how all that went. I think there's an interesting question to be asked about what if Jaden's next month continues on this trajectory? Because if the next month continues like this, he will race up draft boards and be in the position he probably thought he would find himself. So it's this weird kind of catch-22 if you're an LSU fan who wants Jaden to return for another year. And by the way, what a contrast to the conversation just maybe 2 weeks ago when a lot of you were shouting about the Gus bus or the Nuss bus and all that sort of stuff. Nobody having that conversation anymore. But it's going to be very interesting where if you're hoping for Jaden to return, the better he plays, the less likely that is. But you want him to continue playing well because you have a lot of possibilities this season. Either way, I think it'll be a net positive for LSU. Jaden keeps playing exceptionally well, and LSU gets to 9 or 10 wins this year, whatever it may be, and he goes off to the league. Or, you win some, lose some the rest of the way, but you have this player that's really developing very well, and you end up in a spot where he returns for another year. It's a long way of saying I don't know what he's going to do. I know what his idea was when he came here, which is to be here for 1 year and go to the league. And maybe with the way the first, half of the season went, it kind of changed that a little bit. The other thing I'll tell you, which is a big difference with Jaden and Joe, is Jaden Daniels is a young guy. He's only 21 years old. Joe Burrow, when he left LSU, was, I think, pushing 24 already. Joe was an older player who stayed for 5 years. Yeah, Joe's just 25 years old. So Joe Burrow will be 26 in December. Jaden Daniels will be 22 in December. So you're talking about guys that were a full year apart for where they are in their career. So Jaden Daniels is a younger player who it may actually make sense where you could say, all right, well, even if you come back another year, you'd be going into the league younger than Burrow did when he went into the league. I'm not trying to make that comp with the number 1 overall pick and the guy who won the Heisman, had the greatest season ever. But I think you all kind of understand where I'm going with that. So, okay. So what do I do then? You want me to just keep going? Okay. All right. I'm having issues with our computers. So we usually have a hard break coming up here. So for the affiliates, just stay with us. We'll just keep on going. So do we have access to any of the stuff to play over there? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we will do. Yeah, I got it. Okay. We'll do what to watch here in just a second. Let me first remind you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Pretty fired up, man. If it's commercial or residential, our growth this year has been awesome, and we're so grateful to everyone who has given us an opportunity. I always encourage you to let us come do that free, no-obligation roofing inspection, commercial or residential. I try to remind people, there's a reason you pay for insurance. And if you have roof damage, let us work with your insurance company to get that claim approved, to get your roof repaired or replaced. We do it for residents all over the state of Louisiana. So no matter where you live, we'd love to help you out. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. And remember, when you go to the website, right there on the homepage, you'll see the Fortified Roof logo. It's a green logo, big block letter says Fortified. You can tap that to learn more about the Fortified Roofing system. I'm going to way oversimplify it, but if you have a fortified roof installed at your home, it could save you more than 50% on your homeowner's insurance premiums. Would love it if you would you can go to the website to learn more or give us a call. Love to explain it to you. 364-1007, that's in the 225. 364-1007. HUDCO is Louisiana's only, we are the only Louisiana-based certified fortified roofing company. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com, or give us a buzz at 364-1007, 364-1007 for HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Okay, weekend break. All right, well, let's do that then. So we'll get back on time. We'll break, and we'll come back and start off hour number 2. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We will get to, after the top of the hour, point blank, can the Saints make the playoffs? The division stinks, and this is a conversation we have to have. Cole Cubelic in about 20 minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
So I guess I'll do my live read here. Okay. South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Of course, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. I apologize, kind of going back-to-back live reads here, which I don't normally do or like to do, but we're working out our computer issues, but it sounds like we got them fixed. When you call South Point Volkswagen, there'll never be issues. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. They have an amazing inventory over at South Point Volkswagen. While so many different dealers are struggling to get inventory, South Point Volkswagen has inventory on the lot. So you've heard me talk about all the great Volkswagen models for years now, for more than a decade. It's time to go test drive one. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, trust Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen. Online at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, we're happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corvell Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's
announced that quarterback Sam Ehlinger will start for the Colts the rest of this season. He said the move is not being made because of Ryan's shoulder injury. Ryan does lead the NFL with 9 interceptions and 11 fumbles. Jets running back Breece Hall has a torn ACL, will miss the rest of the season. It'll be tough to replace Hall, who has played an important role for the 5-2 Jets, notes our Keyshawn Johnson.
I don't know where they're going to get that extra gear from. I don't know where they're going to get that. This young man from Iowa State was really turning things on and becoming something special in the National Football League. Unfortunate, though, he got taken off in the cart. So it's going to be tough for them to be able to get that production from somebody else.
Keyshawn of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Jets key offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker with torn triceps also out the rest of the season. Cowboys cornerback Jordan Lewis had surgery on a Lisfranc injury, will be placed on IR. His season is over. From ESPN's Adam Schefter, Chargers receiver Mike Williams has a high ankle sprain and will miss some time.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
All right.
Potato. I got all the details.
It's not potato and a potato, sir.
What's
a
potato?
What is a potato?
I've never heard anyone say
potato.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. I'm Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Tigers certainly made the weekend really, really good for yours truly. The Yankees getting swept, having a pretty rough gambling day yesterday for the NFL. First losing NFL Sunday of the year. The Pels losing an OT. Brandon Ingram and Zion both getting hurt. Yesterday kind of sucked. Yesterday was a whole bunch of body blows, but man, things hopefully get back on track. Good to see LSU rolling into their bye with. I'm going to take it easy on those buttons over there, and we're going to keep rolling. All right. As you can tell, we're having some issues over here with the automation system. So apologize for that. We'll just roll on and they'll get things on track as they need to. So last week, when the Saints lost on Thursday Night Football, it was their second loss in 5 days and dropped the team to 2-5 through 7 games. I'm sorry, 2-4 through 6 games. Excuse me. Hang on. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I need to reset. All right, there we go. The Saints last week, of course, lost 2 games in 5 days, dropped them to 2-5. They're 3 games under 500, and in a mathematically unlikely spot to do anything of significance. Like we talked about last week, after they lost to Cincinnati at 2-4, only 10% of teams that started a season 2-4 had ever made the postseason. So that's why that Thursday night game in Arizona was so critical. And they went on the road and they committed 3 turnovers, 2 pick sixes. You all know what happened. Dropped them to 2-5. They lost to a team that had been anemic offensively all year and allowed them to score 42 points. Now, I know 14 of those came on pick sixes, but so that means 28 points for the Arizona offense, which had scored 9 the week before against Seattle, which is one of the worst defenses in the league. You all get it. And at 2-5, your season should be over. Your opportunity to make the playoffs should be over. Mathematically, it's possible because you could win out and you could go 12-5 and you'd be in the playoffs. But realistically, at 2-5 and facing the schedule the Saints are, that's too much of an uphill climb. And I told you last week, and I teed off on Dennis Allen, he deserved it because he basically has blamed injuries for why the team is where they are, not in any way taking accountability for the fact that you're minus 10 in the turnover margin, you're dead last in giveaways, and you're last in the NFL in penalties. Those are discipline things. Those are things that are coachable, and you and your staff are doing a very poor job. So I teed off on Dennis Allen, and he deserved it, and I still don't think that this team, this franchise under Dennis Allen, will do anything of great consequence. With all of that said, Tampa lost to Carolina on Sunday, and the Falcons got blown out as well. So, you're one game out of first place in the division. Tampa and Atlanta are both 3-4. You're 2-5. And so we have to have the conversation about the Saints possibly making the playoffs this year because your division is so bad. And Tampa offensively is not getting better. And Atlanta is atrocious, and you should not in any way trust Marcus Mariota. Now, you're going to flip that and say, well, Matt, how can you trust Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton? That you shouldn't. I'm not saying you should. You're talking about 4 very bad football teams. You don't trust any of them. But somebody has to win the division, which means somebody from the NFC South is going to the playoffs. I had someone ask me yesterday, hey, Matt, if the Saints could maybe get to 7-10, 8-9 and win the division, would you want them to? Hell yeah, I want them to. Yo, it's still the NFL. Like, when you start the season, everybody knows the rules. You win the division, you go to the playoffs. In the history of the NFL, 5 times have teams advanced to the playoffs with a losing record. Now, 2 of them were in 1982. That was the strike year. The 1982 Cleveland Browns went 4-5 and lost their first playoff game to the Raiders. The 1982 Detroit Lions went 4-5 and lost their playoff game to Washington. Now, it's happened 3 times more recently. 2 of them intimately involved the New Orleans Saints. Of course, after the Browns and Lions in 1982, the strike season made the playoffs with losing records. The next time it happened was 2010. And you don't need me to remind you, but out of obligation I will. That's when the 7-9 Seahawks hosted the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints in a wild card game up in Seattle, and the Saints were bested by the Beastquake, the now infamous Beastquake, with Marshawn Lynch running through a defense of grown men like they were children, and then gratuitously grabbing his crotch as he dove into the end zone to break all of our hearts. That was 2010. In 2014, the Carolina Panthers made the playoffs as the NFC South champion with a 7-8-1 record. They beat the Saints by a half a game. The Saints finished that season 7-9. And if you remember how that season ended, the Saints lost to Carolina in Week 14, 41-10. And the Panthers backslid and then wound up finishing the season on a 3-game winning streak to get in. The real kick in the gonads is that Atlanta beat New Orleans in Week 16 and then lost to Carolina in Week 17. Had Atlanta turned around and beaten Carolina in Week 17 like they beat New Orleans, the Saints would have been in the playoffs. So the Saints won in Week 17, beat Tampa, but got no help from Atlanta, and so the Saints were at home, and the Panthers, by virtue of a tie at 7-8-1, made the playoffs. And oh, by the way, Carolina beat Arizona in the wildcard round that year. So in 2010 and 2014, the team that got into the playoff with a losing record won their wildcard round game. It happened also in the COVID year. In 2020, Washington football team won a very bad NFC East at 7-9, and if you remember, they hosted Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and darn near beat them, but Brady rallied, they won, and then, of course, in the divisional round, Brady and the Bucs came to New Orleans, played the Saints, and ended Drew Brees' career, as we all remember, and went on to win the Super Bowl. But the Seahawks in 2010, the Panthers in 2014, Washington football team in 2020 have all made the playoffs with a losing record, and 2 of those 3 teams actually won their opening round game. So, do I want the Saints to find a pulse and find a way to hover around 500 and maybe sneak into the playoffs by winning this awful division? You're damn right I do. But in no way should that be any type of a commentary on Dennis Allen's ability to get the most out of this team. Because if they're sitting there below 500 making the playoffs, that's a joke. With all the talent you have and all you have invested in this team and the way that you have managed to mangle games so far in this season, I have no confidence they'll get there, by the way. For what it's worth, our friends over at DraftKings have updated divisional odds. Right now, Tampa is still the favorite at minus 225. So Tampa, despite all of their issues, despite the fact that they scored 3 points at Carolina yesterday, 3 points, Tampa is still a prohibitive favorite to win the division at minus 225. The Falcons are next at plus 275. The Saints are an extreme long shot at plus 1,100, meaning you bet $100 to win $1,100, and the Panthers are at plus 1,800. And the reason makes a lot of sense. Look at the Saints' schedule. This is what we talked about all offseason. The Saints had some winnable games early. The real meat grinder was in the middle, and then you had some opportunities late, but you had to get ahead, survive the middle, and finish strong. Well, they stumbled early. They're in the meat grinder, and who knows how they're going to finish and if it'll even matter. But you got the Raiders this weekend, and you're a home dog to the Raiders. Then you're at home against the Ravens on Monday Night Football. You're not going to be favored in that one either. You got to go to Pittsburgh, who's not very good right now, but that's still a road game in Pittsburgh in November. You're home against the Rams. You're at the Niners. You certainly won't win that one. You're at Tampa, which feels maybe more winnable because Tampa stinks too. You're home against Atlanta, which is a winnable game. You're at Cleveland. Remember, Deshaun Watson's going to be back for that one. You're at Philly, why even show up? And then you're home against the Panthers. So, Steelers, Bucks, Falcons, Panthers. There's maybe 4 games I could consider the Saints would have a legitimate shot to go win those games, but 2 of them are on the road. Even if you get those 4, that puts you at 6. You're 6-11. You're not winning this division. You're going to have to do something extraordinary to get back into a spot where you're going to be able to win this division. Or maybe you just keep hoping that the rest of the division continues to suck and craps down their leg and you end up somehow backdooring into the playoffs with like a 6-win team. I mean, it would be certainly unprecedented, but we have to at least keep having the conversation until it is a mathematical extreme for the Saints to be able to get into the playoffs. But 1 game back in the division, you have to have the conversation. All right, it is after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out a quick break, come back. We'll do it every Monday. We talk about the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference with our buddy Cole Cubelic of the SEC Network. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is
It's a rave.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James & Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home, listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Y'all, we are getting closer to November. I've told you this before, but November is actually, the last few years, has been the #1 home selling month in Baton Rouge. And it makes a lot of sense, right? If you want to be in your new home for the holidays, if you want to be in your new home for the new year, call Darren James and get that process started now. Don't wait until the spring when the market's oversaturated. Call Darren James right now. Get that home listed. Start that process. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Remember, working with Darren obligates you to nothing. If at any point you're not thrilled with the work he's doing, he'll let you out of the contract free and clear, but don't worry. No one works harder for you to get your home sold faster for more money than Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
We get it done with strength,
commitment,
dedication,
grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. He enjoys Victory cigars and pancake blocks. It's time to preview this week in the SEC with Cole Cubelic, presented by Roosters Men's Grooming.
All right, let's get to it, Cole. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Does anybody have more fun on a broadcast than you, Tom, and Jordan do on the SEC network?
I hope not. I mean, we try to make it interesting. We try to do stuff that's fun and entertaining.
I mean,
football is not that 24/7, but we. Listen, when the state fair is a long toss from where you're actually calling a game, it's like you got to take advantage of that. And Jordan kept begging for a corn dog the entire afternoon, so Tom hooked it up and thought that I might enjoy a glazed donut burger, which I actually did. It was much better than I anticipated.
That thing is crazy. Y'all were just absolute. Jordan is just chowing on a turkey leg, and then Tom eats it right off the bone in his hand. I mean, it's just so good. Like, it's just, I'll say that you don't have to comment, but I really wish you all would be the ESPN night crew. I wish we got you all at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Maybe one day. Hey, let me start by asking you about the game that you called.
Yeah, but it looks like you'll get us on South Carolina Vanderbilt in 2 weeks. So.
But that's not LSU.
No, I'm just letting you know where it looks like we'll be in 2 weeks. We'll be at A&M this weekend, and then South Carolina at Vandy in 2 weeks.
We'll be watching LSU Bama in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll be on.
Well, Godspeed. Hey, let me ask you about the game that you called. South Carolina winning is fine and good, and they're ranked, but the far more interesting story is A&M losing. Explain how are they so bad?
There's a lot going on right now with Texas A&M, and here's the thing: I don't really believe for let's just say 60 minutes that South Carolina just flat outplayed A&M. It wasn't that kind of a game. I do think that that environment, I think that crowd played a big role. There were 7 false start penalties. You've got a couple of backup offensive linemen in, a couple of freshman offensive linemen in. Are they playing a young lineup? Yes, they are. There are young corners in. They're freshman corners, freshman defensive linemen, freshman offensive linemen. There was freshman tailback that played a little bit. Kid from Louisiana got a couple carries. But the reality is they haven't had great quarterback play. And when they do get decent quarterback play, they can't protect him. You know, Haynes King did some good things against Bama, and he's just getting pummeled. And same thing against South Carolina. You know, he threw a pick early. It was bad, but you know, when he came back, and you know, I will say this: that team weathered one heck of a storm, and they were able to battle back in after halftime, get into that game. I mean, think about how that game started. Not to mention the environment, and you give them reason to get excited. I mean, you go 100-yard kickoff return for touchdown, and then you go interception, field goal, then you go fumble, touchdown. So it's 17-0 out of the gate, and A&M at least kept themselves in it. So I'll give them some credit for that, but they just seem like they lack a lot of creativity and imagination offensively. It's not like they don't have guys. It's not like they don't have weapons on offense. I mean, Muhammad has proven he can be a good receiver. We know Evan Stewart can play. Devon Achane is one of the most talented running backs in the SEC, if not all of college football. So, I mean, they've got some guys, but I don't know if they do enough from a creative or imaginative standpoint to get those guys the football on a regular basis. But they need to be touching the ball more, and they need to be touching it in different ways. And if you're not going to be able to block people up, you're not going to be able to move people, that's even more reason to be imaginative and try to do different things to get your matchups. So a defense that has a bunch of freshman defensive linemen playing, like, yeah, you'll get some splash plays, but you better anticipate giving up some explosives because those guys are not always going to be exactly where they need to be. And you know, South Carolina jumped on them early. They rode that crowd. And it's interesting how it's kind of a polar opposite of those two teams. I mean, you have a veteran-laced South Carolina defensive line that probably doesn't have a bunch of NFL guys against a young, talented A&M offensive line. Super young, talented Texas A&M defensive line against a couple of 6-year starters on the offensive line for South Carolina. And, you know, felt like the veterans were the ones that won that game. Felt like the veterans were the one that had the advantages. So it's a weird spot for A&M to be in right now because Connor Whiteman came in and did some good things. So now how do you handle that situation? If you're going young across the board, wouldn't you just go ahead and go young at quarterback? There are parts of it that don't make a lot of sense with how things are being handled right now. But, you know, we had Feinbaum on the show this morning, and he talks about how he doesn't think Jimbo answers to anybody. He doesn't think Jimbo has a boss. Doesn't think there's anybody that can tell Jimbo to do things differently. And, man, if that's the case, what kind of spot are you in from a football team perspective?
Yeah. Boy, five games to go, Cole. I don't know. Ole Miss, Florida, at Auburn, UMass, and LSU. They got 4 of the 5 at home, but man, how many do they get?
But the weird thing was that we talked about this in our production meeting because I was the only one that said that 4 of those games are losable. The majority of the people in our production meeting said, well, they can win those 5 games. And I was like, well, they can also lose those 4. They're going to beat UMass, but 4 of those 5. I was like, they could also lose 4 of those 5. Like, I understand playing at Auburn. You look at that and you say, okay, they can't win that game, but what if they drop this game to Ole Miss this weekend? I mean, what do you? Like, I don't think people understand like teams being in certain spots and how that affects you. Like coming off the Alabama game, usually you're beat up and you're not going to give your best effort, and it's just you're usually a different team after that game. You know, you go back to Arkansas against BYU a couple weeks ago. Like they had to have that game, and I talked about Arkansas. I was like, that's a dangerous game going to Auburn if you lose that game, and you've now lost 4 in a row. Like think about that. You lose 4 in a row and then go on the road.
Yeah,
you're mentally and emotionally not in a great state. I don't care who your coach is, who your leaders are. You're not in a great place. So the reason that I include that Auburn game is 1 on the road, 2. Like what you drop another one that maybe you even go out and outplay your opponent. Like where are you mentally and emotionally? Because now you thought you had Alabama. You go to South Carolina, and nothing goes your way. You can't find a way to win. You drop this game to Ole Miss this weekend. Like, where are you as a program at that point? That's why I think this stretch for A&M is super dangerous.
Yeah. He's on Twitter at Cole Cubelic. With us, courtesy of Roosters Men's Grooming Center, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. Go get you a precision haircut, the hot towel shave. Great spot over there at Roosters. I'll get to LSU in a second, but did we learn anything about Bama or Mississippi State this weekend?
We learned that Mississippi State's coach thinks that there are going to be children born in a couple of years without hands because his receivers can't catch well. I mean, other than that, I don't really know. I don't really know what we learned. I mean, it's kind of what they are. That's a terrible matchup. And the things that I took away from Alabama were their DBs may be better than we thought. I thought Kool-Aid McKinstry, I thought Eli Ricks, even Brian Branch, DeMarcus Helms, all had really nice games in coverage. I mean, really nice games, like better than we've seen any of those guys maybe in a long time. Some of them the best we've seen them at Alabama. But Alabama's offensive line's got some problems, and they did not handle that Mississippi State front seven very well at all. So that is something that's concerning, and that I think when you talk about going to play an LSU defensive line that is sort of ascending, like we knew the edge defenders were going to be great. We didn't really know inside exactly what they were going to look like, and now 99 and 92 are giving you really good reps on a very consistent basis. So you're going to have to deal with four and then some that can roll in on that LSU front, and Alabama's offensive line does not look like one that is ready for that challenge right now. You know, the LSU linebackers had a couple of rough games where they had been out of spots. Then they go play maybe the most visually deceiving offense in the SEC, and they have great games. So if LSU has a defense that proved to me against Ole Miss, sideline to sideline, no problem. DB's coming up and playing the run. We've seen it all year. All of those things don't fare well for what Alabama does and what Alabama has, because you don't have to go bananas in coverage against Alabama. They're not that great. Find a way to neutralize the back, find a way to get to the quarterback, get the ball back, and see what happens. So I learned that Alabama might be a little bit better on the back end than we thought, and that offense is limited. I guess that's the best way that I know to describe it. They're just flat out limited.
We'll have plenty of conversation next week about LSU and Alabama, but let's talk about the LSU win over Ole Miss. Cole, it's kind of the same old song and dance. LSU gets down early and they rally and they end up ascending and boat racing another team. So why or was this one different than the others for LSU?
Because they were playing, I would say, one, they were playing a more capable offense that if they would have allowed them to, could have kept their foot on the gas, and they can put 60 on anybody just about any week, and they didn't. And they really ended up slowing them down. And then two, I'm seeing more and more things being married to one another and built upon and attached to different things offensively than I've seen in a long time for LSU. I mean, they have a plan set now. They're not figuring things out anymore. The plan is to spread you out. You have talented receivers that if they get the ball quickly, they can make you pay. So you have to play up, or else they're just going to sit there and they'll eat you alive with high percentage passes. Okay, cool. So what does that do? That removes defenders from the box. Well, what does LSU start doing then? They start running the ball. And they're having some success on the ground running the ball. The offense, 75 had his best game in an LSU uniform. The best that I've seen. I hadn't seen him play as well as he did against Ole Miss. And the younger kids, obviously, at tackle, they're getting better and better each and every week. Now you got a tight end that can play in line a little bit more, that physically understands what he's being asked to do. That gives you a little bit of a boost. And then they add the quarterback runs, and they add some RPOs to that. So now you're a dangerous offense, because kind of like listen, I'm not saying the two offenses are similar in how they operate, but in a little bit of a similar fashion to Tennessee. Tennessee is a conflict offense. That's what's hard to defend about it. They make you decide what you're going to defend. And LSU is almost getting to that point now where, okay, do you want to try to defend us over the top? Do you want to come to defend these receivers up close? If you do and you remove people from the box, we're just going to run the ball. And even if you keep one extra defender in, we'll create an extra gap with quarterback runs, and your safeties are probably going to be split out wide and be deep because of what we have out on the perimeter and how dangerous those receivers are. It's a great job by Kelly and Denbrock with how they've sort of redesigned it and tinkered with it to get to this point, because when they have the rhythm passing game going, the timing passing game going, Jaden Daniels looks really comfortable and he looks great. He makes good throws. It's when he gets off platform and he gets uncomfortable that he should probably just go ahead and run, because he's really dangerous with his legs, but he gets a little bit erratic when he gets usually past read 2. And then the run game has been there too, because the boxes have been a little bit lighter and the offensive line's playing well. So I just like how they have sort of redesigned things and altered things, and they add, attach, and marry different things to what they've tried previously that are now working, and they're working because the other things were working before that.
Cole, I know you talked about LSU's defensive front. What about the rest of the defense, linebackers and secondary? improvement there to where you think even coming out of what we saw against Tennessee, they might fare better against Alabama?
I think so. I thought 30 had a really nice game. Greg Penn, I thought he played well against Ole Miss. And again, keep in mind that second level, really hard to have a good game against Ole Miss. It just is. I think they're learning now that 40 can be kind of like what Devin Lloyd was for Utah last year. What I thought Mohamed Diabate was going to be for them this year, but it just hadn't really worked that way. But a guy that, okay, you want to line him up on the edge and rush him? Great. You want to play him off the ball? Cool. He can handle that. I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife around the line of scrimmage. He can do a lot of different things well, and he's just got serious juice. So, yeah, I think, listen, 3 and 5, I love the way they come down and play the run. So they're physical. They're not afraid to attack, and you have to have that against Ole Miss. You have to have DBs that will tackle in space because Lane's going to create it. And LSU has that. They have guys that when they're by themselves, they're not afraid to come up and make a tackle alone. And you have to do it against Mississippi State, and we saw LSU do it there. You have to do it against Ole Miss. And they're going to have to do it against Alabama mainly with number one, because Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the ball in space, and Bryce Young is going to move around a little bit too. So it won't be as much down the field that they have to do it, but they will have to do it out on the perimeter and maybe outside the pocket.
He's on Twitter at Cole Cubelic, SEC Network, Jocks FM, mornings there with Greg McElroy on Jocks FM in Birmingham, and with us every Monday here, courtesy of our friends over at Roosters, recapping what was in the SEC. Tigers and the Tide have the week off. Any matchup this week in particular pique your interest? Well, on paper, of course, Florida, Georgia is, but you're looking at a 3-touchdown line there. Anything else that you're really interested in seeing this weekend?
I think our game is extremely interesting because, how does Ole Miss bounce back? And Tom actually asked me during our game, about the LSU offense and what do we think about the LSU offense? I said, listen, they're doing a good job adding and subtracting and building, but I think maybe we're learning more about the Ole Miss defense the last few weeks than we have the LSU offense. And I'm not trying to put LSU and the offense down at all. I think I just explained why I like what they're doing, but maybe we got a little carried away collectively with the Ole Miss defense, 2-3 weeks ago. And we're finding out that group might not be exactly what a lot of people thought. So I want to see if they can step up and maybe be dominant against an A&M offense that's struggling. And then can they take advantage of young linebackers, young defensive linemen? This is a game that Ole Miss should dominate offensively because the people that they usually want to be in the wrong place, this defense is very young there. So they should be able to force them into the wrong spots and be able to grab yards. Now, it's also on the road. It's going to be a hostile environment, and this is the first time they've had to come back and play after they lost the game. So we'll see. But I think that one is really interesting this weekend, and one that I know I'm excited to see and kind of see just how they handle it. And then Brian Harsin with an off week, how do they bounce back against Arkansas? Can they do anything down the stretch that's remotely going to make anybody at Auburn happy?
He's Cole Cubelic on Twitter at Cole Cubelic. Follow him there and watch him on the SEC Network and with us here every Monday, courtesy of our friends over at Roosters. Thanks, man.
Always good catching up with you. And if I get one more at LSU, you and I are going to Roosters and getting that shave together.
Dude, I want it so badly. We got to do it. All right, man. We'll see you. Thanks.
All right. See you.
Later. Obviously, Cole and I are both bald men. So a haircut may not be ideal. But the straight edge shave, the hot towel straight edge shave, boy, I'm going to tell you, it is so worth it over at Roosters. Great gift item for the hard to shop for guy who may not go by the gentleman's choice at Roosters. Get him the gift card. That's how I went the first time. Father-in-law gave all of his sons-in-law a Roosters gift card. So when it's when I still was getting haircuts. Got a haircut, straight edge shave, the shoulder massage. Awesome. Check it out. Roosters Men's Grooming Center, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. All right, it's after further review. Since we kind of had the technical issue at the end of last hour, we did miss our what to watch. Maybe we'll circle back to that at 5:30. We'll recap our what to watch. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. I do want to talk about, almost out of obligation here, the fine that LSU received for storming the field. And Tigers are ranked again. So I want to talk about where they fall in the rankings, why that's significant. Glad you're with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been hurt in an accident, get Gordon and get it done. But Gordon, of course, helps our community in so many ways, like the Playing for Pink campaign, which is underway. So I told you all last week, watch for the Get Gordon NIL athletes, the athletes on the Get Gordon team, Whoever made big plays, make sure you tweet at the Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney accounts. Let them know what Get Gordon athletes you saw making big plays this past weekend in the LSU game or in any of the games that featured Get Gordon athletes. Like I mentioned Emory Jones. I mean, how about Emory Jones and Miles Frazier? 2 offensive linemen helped pave in the way for 252 rush yards. For every big play they see, they're going to make donations to 3 great cancer charities for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Get Gordon, get it done. Go to getgordon.com or call 888-8888. Make sure you participate in the Playing for Pink campaign. Get Gordon, get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Our Tigers are ranked again. LSU, as you would expect, 18th in the AP poll, 20th in the coaches poll. Tigers were ranked once prior earlier this year. And then they lost to Tennessee promptly and were out of the poll again. But they were ranked 25th then. So LSU up to 18 in the AP, 20 in the coaches poll. I thought they would be ranked somewhere mid-teens. I thought somewhere 14, 15, 16 is where you would find them in that range. Not that it matters really for anything other than just the number beside your name when you're on a TV broadcast. The rankings don't factor into anything, as we all know, and they haven't for a long time. Utah is the highest-ranked 2-loss team. They're 5-2 on the season, and they're ranked 14th in both polls. I thought LSU, that would have been apropos, somewhere in the middle teens. Not just that you beat a top 10 team, but you beat down a top 10 team 45-20. And it's just very obvious LSU today is a dramatically different team than they were when they played Florida State in the opener. And then their only other loss is the loss to Tennessee, which was one-sided, as we all saw. But I thought LSU would be ranked higher considering how they beat down Ole Miss at this point in the season. By the way, LSU and Tulane are both ranked for the first time jointly since 1998. Of course, Tulane, that was the year they went undefeated, won the Liberty Bowl. So first time that we've seen that in more than 20 years. Texas, they're unranked after blowing their second half lead to Oklahoma State. Let's see. Any other notes? It is odd. Ole Miss is ranked. Ole Miss is ranked 15th in the AP and 12th in the coaches. I mean, they just got beat down by LSU, and they're decidedly higher than LSU in the polls, which is odd. Without a signature win. The only win over a currently ranked team that Ole Miss has is their win over Kentucky, which was a nail-biter. But like I said, rankings are what they are, and LSU has an opportunity in 2 weeks to dramatically improve theirs. They're able to get past Alabama at home. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. I am, just for a few more moments, putting off the field storming conversation that I have to have here, and you all know where I'm going with it. But let me first remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. Hey, we're nearing the end of the year, and I want to continue to remind you that at the Williamson Eye Center, it is such a great opportunity right now to call ahead to get that LASIK consultation, because you can use your FSA and HSA dollars toward LASIK. Those funds expire December 31st. They expire at the end of the year. So it's a great opportunity now to call the Williamson Eye Center, get that LASIK consultation, go through the consultation now, then get on Dr. Blake's surgery schedule so you can get that done before the end of the year. So Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. All right, we put it off for an hour and 42 minutes. I guess we got to talk about the field storming.
Here we go. That's going to get all old guy on us here.
Here's your old guy alert. Fair warning, old guy alert coming in. It's pathetic that LSU students ran on the field for a win over Ole Miss. To everyone who's saying, let the kids have their fun. No. You can have plenty of fun while your ass stays in the stands. This is a matter of principle when you're talking about the relevance of that celebration. Tennessee hadn't beaten Alabama in 15 years. Every damn body ran on the field. Like, when you saw aerial shots of Neyland Stadium, could you see any part of the field? Muse, could you see any part of the playing surface?
I could not.
Yeah,
no.
right. You want to know why? Because everybody in the stands ran onto the field. All of the people. By the time LSU and Ole Miss wrapped up, like 2/3 of the people had gone home because they were trying to beat the traffic because LSU was beating them down so badly. LSU, and that's what it's not about the $250K. It's not about the fine or anything like that. I think the fine's stupid. I mean, it all goes to like a scholarship fund or something like that. But the fine's stupid as it is. I mean, how are you realistically going to keep people off? If 100,000 people decide they want to run on the field, how are you going to keep them off? It's not feasible. And clearly the fans don't care about the fine. That doesn't disincentivize fans from running on the field. You can do it anyway, so who cares? But I'll tell you this. LSU stormed the field in 1997 when they beat Florida, as many people know, tore down the goalpost. LSU was the first time they ever beat a number one team. That was worthy. In 2000, LSU did it twice. People remember when LSU stormed the field against Tennessee. And that was worthy as well. You had back-to-back losing seasons. You'd come off six straight losing seasons to the DiNardo era where you had some good days, but then it eroded in 98, 99. You go to 2000. You're trying to build back up. You beat a ranked Tennessee team who was just a couple years removed from a national title. They were a national power. You beat Tennessee. Fans stormed the field. Cool. Fans also stormed the field later that year when LSU beat Alabama. That was the first time LSU beat Alabama in Tiger Stadium since 1969. So that was a massive deal when LSU did it. And then a year after that, in 2001, and my hand's in the air, I was a student at LSU and ran on the field in 2001 when LSU beat Auburn, which was LSU's first ever SEC West championship and going to Atlanta. It was a major deal, and everybody flooded the field. And after that, it didn't happen again until 2014. I mean, you go through 2003, that Georgia game was phenomenal. You can look throughout the years. Some great games against highly ranked opponents. The 2007 Florida game, as epic as that was, maybe the greatest game that many people ever saw in Tiger Stadium, nobody ran onto the field. LSU had been there. 2011, look at polishing off the first undefeated regular season since 1958 in 2011. LSU beat third-ranked Arkansas. It was 1-3 on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and LSU beat Arkansas that day. Nobody ran on the field. When you run on the field, it's a show of emotion and dramaticism because you hadn't been there before. It's a level of euphoria. LSU as a program has been there. And then when you do run on the field and it's only like some people, it looks even dumber. I mean, that didn't even look like a field storm. I know what you're going to say, well, the recruits loved it, the players loved it. Who cares? Bama don't storm the field if recruits stop going there because our fans don't storm the field? Like, shut up. That's the stupidest argument for it ever. You can create a great environment in the stadium without running onto the field. So, there's my old guy take. I know.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn.
I know that all the young whippersnappers are going to hate it. And you're going to say, whatever, we're just having fun, man. Big win. We haven't gotten to do that. We stunk the last 2 years. I don't care. Stay your ass in your seat, dork. And I'll just stay over here on my porch yelling at you to get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
And in this case, like literally, if the grass at Tiger Stadium were like, get off, like literally get off of my lawn. All right. You still have Tigers in the pros. Something I do want to talk about after the top of the hour. Is there a path for LSU to make the college football playoff? We'll talk about that coming up right after the top of the hour in about 15 minutes. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery for more than 60 years. Of course, we tell you all the time, buy local, shop local. Go see our friends over at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations, Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Miss Teresa told me earlier today, they still have a great selection of pumpkins and gourds and hay bales. So y'all, trick or treat is a week from today. If you want to decorate for Halloween, they still got you. If you want to get those pumpkins for carving or pumpkin painting parties with the kiddos before Halloween, great chance to do it. You can do it at Clegg's, any of the 4 locations. Also, fall flowers have arrived. Petunias and pansies and snapdragons. They're perfect for fall, the fall color, and winter as well. Time to get those flower beds, those patio pots replanted, and Clegg's has a great selection. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests.
We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Relief Windows. Coming up after the top of the hour is LSU. Is there a path to get to the playoff? I cannot believe I actually sat down and prepped that today, but I did. And we'll tell you, we'll walk through it. Scott Shanle coming up in about 20 minutes as well. Glad you're here. Stick around. Right now, Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Starting Major League Baseball, start with Alex Bregman. Last night, the Astros finish off a sweep of the Yankees. 6-5 was the final score. Bregman 1 for 4 in the game, but the one was the difference maker in the top of the 7th. Here it is, courtesy of TBS.
2-2, and Bregman into right center, a base hit. Alex Bregman delivers the go-ahead run.
Second time in that series that Bregman provided the scoring difference. A 3-run homer in game number 2. That was all the Astros needed, and last night singled the Astros.
You're just enjoying that too much, Muse.
I was about to wrap it up by once again telling you the Astros swept the New York Yankees. NFL action yesterday, Joey B. Oh, wait, one more thing for Bregman. He now has the most RBI by a third baseman in Major League Baseball postseason history as well. Homers in game 2, RBI in game 4. The Astros swept the Yankees. Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. Joe Burrow.
How did the Red Sox do?
Also said some. They're sitting on the couch right next to you. Yeah. Joe Burrow setting records as well in the NFL. 34-42 yesterday. 481. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Added 20 yards on the ground and a touchdown for Joey B. Now 5 400-yard games in his first 3 years in the NFL. That's a record. Jamar Chase, 8 receptions, a $130, 2 scores in that game. Bengals finding their way, it seems, right now. For the Carolina Panthers yesterday, they upset the Buccaneers. Dante Jackson was your leading tackler in that game for Carolina. 10 tackles, all of them solo, led the team. They got the win 21-3. The Cleveland Browns yesterday had some defensive standouts there from LSU. One of them, Jacob Phillips, 7 tackles, second on the team, all of those solo for the linebacker. And then Grant Delpit tied him with 7 tackles, 4 of those solo, and defended a pass. Patrick Queen for the Ravens, who got the win, 11 tackles in the game, 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss, and a hit on the quarterback. That's Tigers in the pros.
The courtesy of our friend Matthew Musso, a long-suffering Red Sox fan through all those dark years.
Never said
it is presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, gentlemen, if you are thinking about popping the question, No better place to go. Lee Michaels has been helping Baton Rouge get engaged for 40 years. They have an amazing selection of the highest quality diamonds, sure to thrill her and make you a hero. And they have great prices as well. And you always get the Lee Michaels experience. So check them out at lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Or go check them out. 2 locations in Baton Rouge for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it's after further review. We are put a button here on hour number 2. I was kind of having a little fun scrolling through the text line from after the Florida State game. I might redact names, but go through some of the text messages. It's so good. Why do you all overreact to everything? Our number 3 is next.
AFR.
I mean, they're really good. Some of them are so good. All right, we're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage. GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. I mean, one guy said they weren't going to win 3 games all year. GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. I encourage you so much. If you're thinking about buying a new home, the first call has got to be to GMFS Mortgage to get pre-qualified. Start there. Get in touch with a local loan officer. You can call, go to the website. There are offices all over the state of Louisiana. So no matter where you are listening or watching in Louisiana, go to the website, hit the loan officers tab at the top, and they'll get you started to finding someone near you who can help you on that path toward home ownership. Look, it's so much better to own than to rent. Start building equity, build wealth. There is a way. GMFS Mortgage can help. Check them out online at gmfsmortgage.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Shop,
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah! It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Matt Ryan, who leads the NFL with 9 interceptions and 11 fumbles, is no longer the Colts starting quarterback. Coach Frank Reich announced that Sam Ehlinger will start the rest of the season, added that Ryan has an injured shoulder, but the change would have been made anyway. Jets running back Breece Hall, torn ACL, and key offensive lineman Elijah Vera-Tucker, torn triceps, both out the rest of the season. Coach Todd Bowles says the Buccaneers need solutions. They need them fast, and there is nobody coming to save the day. On the offensive side, Bowles said they need more consistent play from everybody, adding the problems aren't all on quarterback Tom Brady. But he is partly to blame, believes ESPN's Ryan Clark.
When you look at this team, it isn't just about everyone around him, it's him too, right? Tom Brady isn't playing at a high level. Tom Brady isn't leading at a high level. Tom Brady isn't conducting himself as the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at a high level.
Ryan Clark on Greeny. Chargers receiver Mike Williams has a high ankle sprain and will miss some time, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. LA cornerback J.C. Jackson is out the remainder of the season with a torn patellar tendon.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
All right. Potato. I got all the details.
It's not potato and a potato, sir.
What's a potato? What is a potato?
I've never heard anyone say potato.
Potato.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. During the break, I was searching through the text line back around the Florida State game. Some of these are so good. I think I should not say people's names, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say people's names, but I mean, there's some literal. I mean, there's some gold on there. We gotta go through it.
Well, it's not literal.
Yeah, that's why I stopped myself.
Russ Mitchell was right.
Oh.
That was the night of the Florida State game.
Actually, friend, Russ Mitchell was wrong.
No. He is not right. Oh, man. How about...
They loved the offensive line, huh? There has to be something in there about the offensive line.
Jaden Daniels is expletive terrible.
Oh, yeah.
If I just go and search Nuss, I wonder what's going to come up.
Do it.
I haven't done that yet.
Jaden Daniels. This guy's had 11 touchdowns the last 2 weeks.
What's the over-under on the Tigers winning 3 games this year? Who are we going to beat besides Southern, UAB, and New Mexico? And I'm not stupid. I'm just a realist. Convince me I'm wrong.
Didn't he or she give the over-under when he said 3? Over, friend.
Dude, I'm not reading names. I'm not going to read people's names, but trust that these are actual texts that I got on the text line from people. I have just done this for so long now that I've just learned you don't get too high with a win. You don't get too low with a loss. Like, there are really good wins that should be celebrated. There are really bad losses that should be concerning at times. But my goodness, like, teams improve. You're allowed to. It's one of the biggest and strongest arguments for an expanded playoff. Like, this LSU team is one of the biggest, strongest arguments for an expanded playoff. Because this team just beat a top 10 team by 25. A team that was ranked in the top 10 by 25. What if LSU runs the table? I don't know that it's likely. I wouldn't predict it. Like, I think LSU is going to lose to Bama in 2 weeks. I'm not trying to be a killjoy, but Bama's going to be a heavy favorite and should win that game. But what if LSU does win it and wins out? And you have a 10-2 LSU team that goes to the SEC championship game. What if they win that? A 2-loss team has never made the college football playoff. Would you keep a 2-loss SEC champion LSU out that beat undefeated Ole Miss, that would have beaten Alabama, and would have beaten either Tennessee or Georgia in the SEC championship game? Could you really justify keeping that team out of the playoff? Look, they did it to Penn State a few years back in the Big Ten. Penn State beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten, but had 2 losses, so they kept them out. Ohio State got in the playoff. The Big Ten champion Penn State, who beat Ohio State, did not get in, but Ohio State did. I mean, who knows what that committee does whenever they sit in a room, and they can do whatever they want. But, I mean, I think – so ESPN had an interesting piece. It was basically running through the contenders with their playoff predictor and who are the actual contenders with their percent chance of making the playoffs. And they went conference by conference. And right now, this is how the percentage breakdown goes for odds of making the playoffs among the top contenders. Okay, you ready? You don't have to memorize the numbers. Just kind of let it marinate for what it means. Right now, Muse, you want to guess team that has the best percent odds of making the playoff?
Georgia Bulldogs.
No. Not even close, actually.
Really? Okay. The Ohio State Buckeyes.
It is the Ohio State Buckeyes at 81.6%.
Solid.
They're basically saying, beat Michigan and you're in, which I think they will. Okay. Number 2,
Georgia,
is the Georgia Bulldogs at 66.9%.
That's a big gap. That is a big gap.
Because
Tennessee, yeah.
You got to play Tennessee
SEC championship.
and then an SEC championship game. Like, there's a chance that they lose once or twice. So, I get it. After Georgia?
I feel like it's an SEC team, but I feel like it's probably Alabama.
Clemson.
Okay, that makes sense.
Honestly, I'm surprised Clemson isn't higher.
Yeah.
The only game they got to get past is a road game to Notre Dame.
And they got to bye this week before that.
So but Clemson's at 61%, then Bama at 53%, then Tennessee at 51%. After those 5, remember, Tennessee at 51%. After those 5, the next highest odds to make the playoff.
One loss Pac-12 team. I mean, is it Oregon?
USC.
Okay, one loss Pac-12 team.
9%. So basically, you got these 5. It's going to be 4 of these 5. Is basically what they're telling. How this is all going to shape out. LSU don't even have odds on the list. So, but if you wanted a path for LSU, this is your path, right? LSU wins out, which means you would beat Bama, and you want either Georgia or Tennessee to be unbeaten in the SEC championship game. If you get Bama and an unbeaten Georgia or Tennessee, that would be as good a resume builder as LSU could possibly have. You'd want Ohio State and Clemson to go undefeated, right? So they would emphatically be your numbers 1 and 2. Ohio State, Clemson would be 1 and 2, and then it's okay. Everybody else has a loss. Now, how do you sift through it? And you hope, based on the strength of the record, that a 2-loss LSU would be in there with another SEC team. But the tricky part is which SEC team. That's the really tricky part. Because Bama would be out, so it would be either Georgia or Tennessee. So do you take the loser of the SEC championship game, which would have beaten that team in the regular season, or you take the loser of the regular season matchup and put him in, who didn't play in the SEC championship game, which we've seen. Bama. I don't know. It's not an easy thing to decipher here. And there's a lot of boxes that still need to be checked between now and then. But the other thing you would really want that would clear this up is if you had a 2-loss Pac-12 and a 2-loss Big 12 champion. Because right now, TCU is the only remaining undefeated Big 12 team, but it's hard to imagine any team from the Big 12 getting in that's not undefeated. But a 2-loss Pac-12 and 2-loss Big 12 champ would effectively eliminate them. and it would come down to the 2 unbeatens, a 2-loss SEC champ LSU, and then whoever else the at-large would be. But that's really LSU's only path. Now, for the postseason, however, what my long-standing feeling has been here. There are bowl projections, yes. We do have bowl projections. And for quite some time, what have I told you?
Let's get LSU to the desert. Get them to Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Be so good. Keep projecting Florida there for some reason, though.
Look, jorts and all that stuff in the desert, not nearly as cool as LSU in the desert. I think we'd all agree on that.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
But nay, kill the music muse. I have had a change of heart. Kill it.
It's Vegas, Matt.
Kill it. Oh, I love Vegas. And should LSU be sent out to Las Vegas to play in the Las Vegas Bowl, I would happily go and spend Gordy Rush's money. But I have a new obsession today, Muse. It's no longer the Las Vegas Bowl. No, sir. It is not the Las Vegas Bowl. I do not want to see LSU out in the desert. I have nary an interest in LSU going out to the desert any longer because you see today, I did click on a link, and it was the bowl projections from Sports Illustrated. I think we could agree that Sports Illustrated is a pretty reputable entity. Would you agree, yes or no? I mean, they did hire Delhi, so maybe not if they hired Delhi. But SI, Peach Bowl in Atlanta. They got Ohio State against Tennessee in one semifinal. The other semifinal out in Glendale, they got Georgia against Clemson. So that's who they have in their college football playoff. Huh. But once you get down into that New Year's Six, friend, I'll tell you what. A couple of games that are pretty interesting in that New Year's Six. You got the Rose Bowl.
Always good.
By the way, in the Cotton Bowl, they've got Tulane as the highest rated group of 5 team that would get in. They got Tulane. So Tulane will play Cincinnati later in the last playing date, which theoretically would be for could be for a New Year's Six spot. Sugar Bowl, they've got Alabama against Oklahoma State, as you'd expect. And so there's one more New Year's Six Bowl.
That'd actually be a pretty good game, maybe.
Would be a pretty good game. One more New Year's Six Bowl. You know what it is?
That's the Orange Bowl, Matt.
No more Viva Las Vegas. Give me Will Smith. I don't want the desert. I want South Beach. Our friends at SI have called their shot, and they have your Fighting Tigers of LSU spending New Year's in Miami against Wake Forest. Wake Forest LSU. Give me all of that smoke, because I got news for you, Coach. That's going to go really well for LSU. Respect to Sam Hartman and all the stuff. They throw the ball around the yard. All that's fun. The ACC is a joke. LSU would go to Miami and would absolutely curb stomp Wake Forest. That game's on December 30th, so you could go watch LSU beat Wake Forest, hang for the weekend, and spend New Year's in Miami on Gordy Rush's dime. I am so fired up about this. I've been to Miami one time in my life, Muse. I went one time. And I tried to do an economy trip when I was dead broke. Worst idea.
Yeah, in Miami.
Don't go to Miami on an economy trip. Literally checked into the hotel. There was a dead roach on the hardwood floor. Wood floors in a hotel room. You ever heard of that?
No.
Anyway, yeah, it was bad news bears. Like one of those things where you actually had a key to get in, and when you're outside, you're outside.
Like a legit.
Bad.
So it was like a motel.
No, it was bad. Don't do it. Rental car, couldn't communicate with the guy, tried to give me the car. It smelled like smoke. I think we broke down a few times. I mean, the stuff that you see in movies. I am really excited to go on a premium Miami trip on Gordy Rush's dime.
Sounds good to me.
Give me all of it. No, you're not in. You're going to be at Rouse's with Hanny. It's where you're going to be.
Whoa. No, you got to take game day.
No. You're at Rouse's. You're at Rouse's on Hanny. Paul can come, though. Paul, you and me, we're going to Miami. We're leaving Muse. Someone's got to do Eagle Game Day at Rouse's. That's you, Muse. You get to do that. By the way, LSU in their history has played in the Orange Bowl 5 times. 1943, these are the seasons. 1943, they beat A&M. 1961, beat Colorado. 1970, lost to Nebraska. 73, lost to Penn State. 82, lost to Nebraska. It's time. It's been 40 years since LSU played in an Orange Bowl. Remember, LSU beat Florida State. They threw oranges on the field in 82. Tigers went down there, and they lost to Nebraska. Bummer. Old guy Rish. Old number 7, Alan Risher, was your guy quarterback in that team back in 82. But tell you, man, you got to get 2 in the college football playoff. So Bama and Georgia or Tennessee. The other of the 3 in the sugar, and then LSU's in the orange. The question is, would a 9-3 LSU, if you lose to Bama, win the rest? Could a 9-3 LSU get into the New Year's Six? Would love to see it. 2018, 9-3 LSU went to the Fiesta Bowl. Give me South Beach. I don't know what I would do. I would eat. I would drink Mai Tais. What else do you? Mojitos? Give me look at that. Look how beautiful that is.
Parasailing?
That's where we're staying. We're staying in all of these right here. I don't even know what this is by this bay thing with all the blue. This is where I'm staying. In all of them. Simultaneously. Get ready, G-Rush.
I think that's possible.
Give me that guarantee Amex, brother. It's going down. I'm expensing everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. I mean everything. Miami. Like $300 cocktails at 2 in the morning on the Strip. Is there a Strip in Miami?
Yeah.
South Beach?
Yeah.
Get ready. So excited about this. I got my mind made up. I'm going to Miami. Spending New Year's in Miami. Get ready. Erica, don't make New Year's plans. I'm not going to be here. I'll be in Miami. You're not invited. I think that's going to go over. You going to Miami without me? All right, you can tag along. All right, it's after further review. Pretty excited about that. And it just goes to show you how much people have changed their thinking about this LSU team. How big. That win over Ole Miss just changes the conversation around LSU. All right, we got to have a conversation with Scott Shanle. I'm a little late. We'll do that next at AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Remember, it's a great time right now to call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. Call them now. Have them come do that pre-season heater safety check. Before the weather gets cold, before you're cranking up that heater every single day, make sure it's clean, it's running efficiently, and most importantly, that it's running safely. So your family, your belongings are all protected during these cold weather months that are coming when you get that heater cranked up. River City's 1 Hour Air. Mention the Moscona special. They'll save you $30 on that preseason heater safety check. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks all over town. The giant clock on the side. You can't miss those rolling billboards. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
First time this year. Get to catch up with our buddy, former Saint linebacker Scott Shanle, doing great work with Your View, Louisiana. Scott, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me on.
Man, it's always our pleasure. Wish times were better for the Saints. Man, best guess what that mood is like in the locker room right now, where it's so much expectation, but out the gate you're sitting here at 2-5.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys in that locker room who all they know is success. I mean, a lot of guys who were drafted. You talk about all the way back to 2017. Really, the first major adversity this locker room has faced as far as record. Expectations were extremely high going into the year. A lot of people were concerned about the quarterback position, but really nobody was concerned about the defense. Nobody was concerned about the receivers or the O-line. So I think right now there's a little bit of doubt probably creeping into the locker room, like how good can we be? And I think when guys get healthy, there's so many injuries. That's the nature of the NFL, but many teams are playing without their top 2 corners, their top 2 or 3 wide receivers. Let's see when they get here. Hopefully they help. Yeah. See some of that hope start to replace that fear and doubt in the locker room.
Scott, I'm curious if your last season with the Saints was 2012, and that was the Bounty Gate year where Sean Payton was suspended. Do you see any comps to what it's like for the first time not having Sean Payton in the locker room, even though all the structure they tried to keep the same?
Oh, absolutely. The worst thing that can happen is what's kind of happening right now with losing games, because they really need to have a successful season this year, and maybe that's 9-8. Maybe that's digging yourself out of this hole and ending a positive note, even if that means you don't make the playoffs. But I think the guys in the locker room have to prove everything's going to be okay without Sean Payton. Sean Payton, he has a presence about him. There's an aura. There really is a presence when he walks around. So just like 2012, we all said it's going to be fine. We know what to do. We're veterans. We're pros. Start losing games, you're looking for that face to stand in front of your and call everything's going to do. That's when some of that doubt creeps back in.
Hey, Scott, do me a favor. Hang on one second. We're in a bad connection. Just dial him right back. Let's see if we can get him on maybe a better cell. I don't want to miss that because I do want to follow up on 2012 because that probably is the best comp that we have. And Scott was on that team, so I want to get back into that. We'll get Scott back here in just a quick second. Of course, our Monday shows, as always, brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138. 288-8138 for Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Visit a former Saint linebacker, Scott Shanle. Of course, spent 10 years in the NFL, was part of the Super Bowl championship-winning team in 2009, was part of some of those great runs. His last year, of course, was 2012, the Bounty Gate year. So I'm trying to draw some of those parallels. All right, we have Scott back. All right, sorry about that, Scott. We're just having a little issue with the phone, but I wanted to ask you, you were saying that when things aren't going well, you want that leader, that voice to stand up and kind of tell you that everything is going to be okay. Did you all have that moment in 2012?
Oh, yeah. I think we started the season off pretty slow. And, not only do we not have Sean Payton there, we had two separate coaches. We had Joe Vitt. We had Aaron Cromer for some of the year. So it was really odd because you never knew what voice to follow. Obviously, Drew Brees really felt like our interim head coach. He was the constant face and the calming voice. But there's just something about having your guy in front of the room. And when you don't jump off to a good start at the season, you start to lose a little bit of hope.
So when you're sitting here at 2-5, I think the easy thing to say, Scott, is you keep plugging along. You take it one game at a time. It's sort of that cliched thing. But how easy is that, or is that even easy? Is that believable at this point?
I'll tell you what, it's believable. I think when you're a part of a winning organization, you believe you can win any game, even though maybe you're sitting there 2-5 and you thought you'd be 5-2. You feel like because you play for the New Orleans Saints and the guys that are assembled in the locker room, you can win any given weekend. The problem is when you're 2-5, you can play great this weekend and be 3-5, and then you slip up the following week, you're 3-6. So it's a slippery slope because you can be intensely focused every single week. Doesn't mean you're going to win in the NFL. It's just really hard to continue feeling that way week after week unless you're winning week after week.
You'll follow him on Twitter at Scott Shanle. So when you look ahead to this week, they do get a little bit of rest, right? I mean, it's a 10-day break because you played on Thursday Night Football. Then here come the Raiders. A couple of things. First, Dennis Allen said today that Jameis is improving. They have to make a decision at some point what they're going to do at quarterback. What would you like to see him do?
Right now, because of the NFC South, I think Dalton with a lot of Taysom Hill or more Taysom Hill. This offense has seen the most success they've had the past 3 weeks since they went with Dalton and Taysom. I mean, they had, almost 500 yards of offense or way over 400 yards. They've been scoring 30 points or more in the last 3 weeks. So the offense side of the ball has found something. So I say stick with that. But if the season is a wash and it's a waste and you have no chance in the NFC South, I think you have to throw Jameis out there. And whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8 games, you got to find out what you have in Jameis Winston. And this organization was hoping that they found the number one pick that Jameis Winston was. We haven't seen that yet. There's been inconsistencies. But listen, this organization doesn't have a first-round pick. There's not going to be a great free agent quarterback. They're tying this year and next year to Jameis Winston.
I completely agree with you. But you mentioned at some point, that they'll have to, if they're out of it, they have to go make that decision. At what point as an organization do you look and say, okay, this season is a wash. Let's think about the future?
I think when you're mathematically eliminated from the NFC South,
that might not be at all this year, man.
and it might be a long time because nobody thought the Bucs would be slipping up the way they are. 3-4 and 3-4 and two teams at 2-5. I don't think you can do anything crazy. You have to try to focus on every game as long as you're in it and not really look towards the future.
You were on that team in 2010 that had to go play in Seattle against a 7-9 Seattle team. I mean, what is your feeling? Do you have an opinion on teams with a losing record getting in the playoffs?
So I have a strong feeling and strong opinion on this because we experienced it and played at a 7-9 team, and not just because the Beastquake and all that stuff happened. We didn't play well that day, but there was no reason why we should have been playing on the road. And it's driven me crazy, not just for us, but every team since then. Teams that get, if you want to give a division champion an automatic bid to the playoffs, go ahead. But that, just because you won a bad division does not earn you a home game. And I don't know why the NFL has not changed it yet. If you're a 12-5 wild card team, you get to host a game. That's just how it should be. You should get rewarded for winning a lot of games. And I've always felt that way since that point.
It has happened twice since your 2010 Saints had to go to Seattle. 2014, the Panthers won the NFC South at 7-8-1 and actually won their wild card game at home. And then in 2020, the Commanders, or the Washington football team, hosted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Tom Brady in his first year. Of course, we know Brady and the Bucs would go on to win the Super Bowl that year. Scott, for the Saints this year, you're right. They're moving the ball. They're scoring points. The defense has been clearly not up to the standard that Dennis Allen had set here in the last half decade. If I asked you, what is it? Is there a thing you can put your finger on and say that's the reason this defense isn't performing right now?
Well, I want to blame injuries, but that's the easy scapegoat. and like Dennis said last week, everybody has injuries. You're missing Marshawn Lattimore and Adebo last week. It's tough. It is tough to win games in the NFL if you don't have starting corners out there, and you have to do a lot of different things defensively. And if you don't have your starting corners, your D-line better play elite. Besides Cam Jordan, everybody's been invisible on the front four. So if you made me tie down issues on this defense, everybody on the front four besides Cam Jordan needs to step up and show up in the box score. And somebody at safety needs to make some plays. And neither safety is doing enough right now to help this defense. I think those are the glaring issues on the defense. I mean, you look at the box score every week, it's Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, and Pete Werner doing all the work. I mean, somebody else needs to step up.
Scott, what do you think about, last thing, what do you think about this matchup with the Raiders this week at home? Saints are a slight underdog at home. Las Vegas struggle themselves out of the gate. How do you think the Saints match up?
Yeah, I mean, I have to stop looking at the schedule with my Saints glasses from the past 4 or 5 years and saying, oh, I like this game at home. I think the Raiders haven't been playing well. Well, the Saints haven't been playing well either. So,
right.
You know, the expectations have changed dramatically. Game could go either way. It's going to come down to having Lattimore out there on Devontae Adams, and Derek Carr, you're going to have to get pressure on him. He gets rattled if you get pressure on him. And Josh Jacobs has been playing really good at running back. They declined his fifth-year option. He's running like he's trying to get a new contract. So they may be – their record does not indicate how talented their team is. You're going to have to jump on them quick, and maybe they'll lose a little bit of steam. But it's going to be a tough matchup.
Darren Waller's going to be out, and he, of course, had a day against the Saints a year ago out in Las Vegas. So maybe that's one benefit to New Orleans, Waller not being there. He's Scott Shanle. You can catch him every Saints game day on Your View. Hey, man, we always appreciate a couple of minutes. Thanks for making the time.
Yep, no problem.
Hey, man, be well. Scott Shanle. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbills and ShawbillsTire.com. 17 locations across South Louisiana. They always have great deals over at Shawbills. They're about selling you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. So we're talking about Michelin, BF Goodrich, Firestone, Bridgestone, name brand tires, the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. So I'd recommend go to the website, ShawbillsTire.com, hit the promotions tab at the top, and it'll tell you all the offers that they have presently. And so many times you can pair those manufacturer offers with their in-house Shawbills offer as well. There's just dozens of them. So it's a great opportunity to save. If you need new tires, man, get them where you're going to get them the cheapest. That's at ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. All right, it is After Further Review. Thanks to Scott Shanle for joining us. If you missed Cole Cubelic last hour, we opened up the show today talking about LSU's win over Ole Miss, talked a ton about Harold Perkins. We did run through last hour a path for the Saints to make the playoffs as a 7-9 or a 7-10, a division champion with a losing record. So you can catch all that on demand. If you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. You also watch it on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. If you're watching live, thank you. Please smash that like button. If you would, subscribe up to the channel. It's where all of our daily programming is, our daily lineup of shows, our weekend shows like Eagle 98.1 Game Day, Whiskey and Wine, Scone and Tea with me and T-Bob on Wednesdays. It's all there for you on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So we appreciate y'all for being there with us. All right, it is After Further Review. Quick break. We'll come back. We want to get to our college football takeaways from the weekend, and also because we had the little equipment malfunction earlier, we missed the recap of what to watch from Thursday. So we told you on Thursday what we were watching. We'll recap how it all went, and we'll get to our college football takeaways. Glad you're hanging out with us here on AFR.
AFR.
You know, every day I remind you about Insurance Network of Louisiana. And I really want you to think about what it would mean to you, to your family, to your budget, if you were able to save an extra $200, $300, $400, $500 a month on your insurance premiums. That's not hypothetical. Those are real situations that happen. And every day when I talk about Insurance Network of Louisiana, I tell you about real people, real AFR listeners who have called Insurance Network of Louisiana and let them shop independently for free to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. And unless if you have personally called and shopped dozens of companies, chances are you're overpaying and quite possibly underinsured. I know I was. And that's the story for thousands of Louisianians who have called Insurance Network of Louisiana and found better coverage for less money. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we got a lot to do and still got to get to Otter Locks. Get Jimmy to give us a pick on Monday Night Football. Need to make amends. Yesterday was how about this? Every good streak comes to an end. Yesterday was the first Sunday, 8 weeks, first Sunday that Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday, the handicappers had a cumulative losing day. First time. They went into yesterday 56-26 on the year. Let me say that again slowly. These aren't straight-up picks. These are bets against the spread. So in Jimmy's Sunday show, he and all the professional handicappers, come on, give out their best bet. If you had bet all of them from week 1 until yesterday, they were 56-26. 30 games. 30 over 500. It's incredible. But yesterday had our first losing day, a losing Sunday of the NFL season so far. So see if we can get back on track tonight with the little Monday Night Football pick. Get Otter's pick coming up here shortly. All right, on Thursday, we tell you what to watch. Then on Monday, we recap it.
We watched. Now let's review.
All right, Muse, fire away first. Got to move quick because we got this in. We got our college football takeaways.
I was looking forward to watching the end of Syracuse. They played a lot better than I thought they would.
Yeah,
I
me
won't
too.
lie. They still lost, though, and it's over. But it was a good run.
They didn't move the ball at all in the second half.
Yeah.
Paulie.
I was watching Texas and Oklahoma State. It was looking like it was going to go Texas's way for the most part. But then Oklahoma State, they would tie it with 10 minutes remaining in the game. And then Oklahoma State's Bryson Green scored a 42-yard touchdown with 3 minutes left to play. Texas had 2 chances for game-winning drives. Quinn Ewers threw an interception on both of them.
Yeah, your boy had Oklahoma State that game. Enjoyed it. I was watching Chip Kelly, seeing if he could take undefeated UCLA back to Oregon and get a win. I think Dan Lanning and the Ducks proved they're pretty legit. And, man, have they improved since that season-opening loss to Georgia.
We're looking to see if Vandy could get their SEC win and end their streak of 23 straight losses. Boy, they fought hard. Fell down 14-0, clawed back and made it 14-all, and then lost on a field goal. 24 straight.
What was the final of that game?
17-14.
No.
Yeah,
I
man.
just saw him get down early. I was like, oh, Vandy. And
Oh,
I never
they
went
clawed
back
back.
into the score.
The Clark Lee's boys,
no.
Matt, they got so much heart.
Oh, no. Okay, Paulie, go.
I was watching the return of Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
He only threw for 207 yards, one touchdown.
Yeah.
He was sacked twice. Dallas did win the game, but they beat him with defense in the running game. He looked okay.
I was wondering if Kansas could get bowl eligible. They lost to Baylor.
Bro.
Look at what?
It looks rough.
I don't know if they're going to get there.
I don't either, and I hurt for them.
They started 5-0, and if Kansas is going to get bowl eligible, I'm trying to pull it up quickly here. If Kansas is going to get to bowl eligibility, they have to win one of these games. Oklahoma State.
That ain't happening.
At Texas Tech. Maybe. Texas.
Pretty good record in that series as of late.
At Kansas State.
Yeah, it's not happening.
They're not favored in any of them. They're going to have to upset somebody if the Jayhawks are going to get to bowl eligibility.
I was looking at big NFL spreads. You had 7 spreads, touchdown or better. 6 of those games were played yesterday. Tonight's the last one. Just 2 of the teams covered, though. That'd be the Bengals and the Cowboys. So it didn't go great for the big favorites.
Paulie.
Veteran NFL quarterbacks' struggles continue. Russell Wilson didn't play. Aaron Rodgers only had 190 passing yards. They lost. They're on their first 3-game losing streak since 2018. And then Brady only had 290 passing yards, and they didn't even score a touchdown.
And finally, I asked if Tampa could get their offense going against Carolina. Tampa went in dead last in rushing yards per attempt. Carolina was 12th in rush D. We said, hey, could Leonard Fournette get going a little bit? Tampa's dominated the division, 10-2 in their last 12. And Tampa didn't score a single touchdown, 21-3. The McCaffrey-less Panthers just boat raced Tommy touchdown. My goodness, does this division absolutely suck? Right? That's what we learned. All right, let me remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana Muse. If you want to fire up our do we have an open for, what are we doing? College football takeaways. Do we have an open?
I've got everything queued. We're ready to go whenever you finish your Aesthetic Live.
All right. Blue Bond in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey and Lafayette, online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. I was over there on Friday, reminding you, Christmas in November is coming, y'all. Christmas in November is coming up on November the 10th. Mark your calendar. The single best, one day only, best specials of the year. It's a huge party all day long. I mean, food and drinks and entertainment, and the whole staff is there. It's awesome. Make plans to be there. Christmas in November on November the 10th at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, time for college football takeaways.
Another week in the books. What did we learn about the landscape of college football?
It's almost like the same exact thing as the
Well, look, Matt, I'll tell you this. The grass, it ain't
open.
always greener on the other side, but it is for one Bo Nix.
Hey.
6-1 now, the Oregon Ducks, in control of the Pac-12. But how about big game Bo, right? He can never get it done. In the 2 biggest Oregon wins, he's got 5 total touchdowns in each of them against BYU and Saturday against UCLA.
Miami, they missed their turnover chain. Mario Cristobal didn't want any gimmicks when he was named the head coach, so he ditched the turnover chain. They had 8 turnovers against Duke over the weekend.
8 giveaways?
Yeah.
He
had 5 fumbles, 3 interceptions.
Oh, that's a lot.
The Miami Heat, they play basketball, Matt.
Yeah.
They had 9 turnovers.
That's a good number. That's a good number. Tulane in the New Year 6. Look at the Wave schedule. They got past Memphis this past weekend in what might have been a letdown spot. Tulane's got a shot. They'll play Cincinnati in the final play-in date if they can get there undefeated. And if Tulane beats Cincinnati, it's a game at Ullman, by the way.
Who are they playing?
I'm sorry. Cincinnati.
Hey.
But they're only Cincinnati when they're talking about trying to get in the playoff. When they're just a little New Year's 6, joker that nobody really cares about. Tulane, they got a shot.
See you next year, Texas. It was fun. Look forward to doing it again. You'll be back. Quinn Ewers will be in the Heisman race. It's great.
And then you won't be back.
And then you won't be back. We'll do it again from here to eternity. See you next year. It was a good ride.
It's even more fun because I cashed that ticket.
Got him.
All right, go ahead, Polly.
Iowa is terrible.
Yes, they are.
They benched their quarterback. They were 1 of 13 on third down. They had 6 turnovers, and they averaged just 2.2 yards per rush.
And they got a defensive touchdown in that game. Yeah. And couldn't cover the 30.
They were one of 4 teams to not score 100 points yet this season.
That's a good number. I had Iowa in the 30, and I hate myself. Sonny Dykes, Coach of the Year. TCU was 5-7 a year ago. 5-7. Fired Gary Patterson. Remember, Jerry Kill was the interim. They bring in Sonny Dykes from SMU. Oh, no biggie. He's got him at 7-0 and ranked in the top 10 right now. They got a ways to go to polish this thing off. But, man, Sonny Dykes. Josh Heupel, by the way, should be and probably will be the Coach of the Year. But over this next month, Sonny Dykes could make a pretty strong case for it.
There's no quarterback controversy at Clemson. It's still going to be DJU. Look, he did get benched. He had a tough game. Klubnik came in, provided a spark. The guy threw for 19 yards and 4 passes. They ran the ball with Will Shipley. You're not going to have that man start his first career game on the road at Notre Dame. It's DJU's job. Enough.
Didn't DJU start his first career game on the road at Notre Dame?
Yeah, it went pretty well. But look how it's going now, Matt.
I think Notre Dame won the game, but DJU threw for like 400 yards in the game.
You don't want to have that happen again.
Polly, go ahead.
I learned Lindsey Scott was still playing college football.
7 years. Yes, that Lindsey Scott.
At least
7 years.
It's 7. No, he started in 2016.
This is his 5th team.
Yeah.
He was with LSU. Then he went to East Mississippi Community College where he won a natty. Went to Missouri. Then he transferred to Nichols. And now he's at Incarnate Word. He's putting up good numbers,
Yeah,
too.
dude. He's a guy. And Pac-12 is out of the college football play. UCLA's lost. There's no more unbeatens. A one-loss Pac-12 team is not getting in, so Pac-12 is out of the playoff again. All right, that's what we learned in this weekend in college football. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Little Otter Locks to wrap it up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers. Need a place to watch Monday Night Football tonight? You can get by Pluckers. Tonight is a great opportunity because tonight and every Monday at Pluckers, all you can eat wings. Pay one low price. Eat as many wings as you want all night long. Not sure if you noticed, Pluckers was sponsoring Whiskey and Wine on Saturday, so we DoorDashed some Pluckers wings to Don Juan, and so we enjoyed amazing, award-winning jumbo chicken wings from Pluckers. We had some left over, so I brought them home and then watched Pac-12 After Dark. I watched the Washington Cal game. Saw Marshawn Lynch drop an MF live on TV. It was amazing. Anyway, and it was even more amazing because I was eating award-winning jumbo chicken wings from Pluckers. Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out delivery. Monday Night Football tonight. NBA season's underway. NHL season's underway. You can watch all your college football, your NFL Sunday ticket, World Series. No better place than at Pluckers. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Remember, it's Pluckers where, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit. We get it done with passion for our fans and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience, shopper style.
Oh, yeah! It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing great, Matthew. How about you?
Very well. So I shared with our audience that it was the first Sunday below 500 for the Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday handicapping crew. But an incredible start to the season. 56-26 going into yesterday. What was the final tally on yesterday morning?
Oh gosh,
you haven't done it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. It's I think 13 picks. I think we were like 5-8.
Yeah.
So
it was bound to happen, but to make it 8 weeks through an NFL season without a losing day is pretty stinking incredible. And needless to say, when you're still way, way up, you'll take a losing day because you know they're going to be few and far between. So turn the page to Monday Night Football. What do we think about this? Another game with a big spread with the Patriots and the Bears.
I kind of torn between this one, and that's why when you called me last night, I kind of told you what I was doing with the teaser.
Yep.
And, it came into play last night. The Miami didn't cover, but they did cover the teaser, and I'm kind of hoping that's what happens tonight because we're going to close out a teaser with New England minus 2.5, but take plus 8.5 and try and hit a middle for tonight's game. Two things I'm conflicted on, Matt, and that is Belichick against a limited quarterback, which Fields is. I mean, he is not he's got a long way to go. If ever, he might get there as far as
1
making
minute
it
remaining.
committed to the pocket. I mean, but then again, how's he breaking his momentum at his quarterback position? Bailey's app has been very good, and he's going to go back to Matt Jones here. So, two-thirds of the tickets are on New England, minus the 8.5 at this point. I think it might just be a little too much. I think the Bears will win, but I'm hoping it's going to fall between 3 and 8, so I can hit that middle, and that's what I'm going to go with.
You said you think the Bears win. You think the Patriots win the game?
Patriots win the game, yeah. Minus
okay.
2.5,
Okay.
but Bears plus 8.5.
Okay.
If you just bet tonight's game, I would take the Bears plus 8.5.
All right, where are you tonight, Otter?
Spoken Hub on Government Street,
Awesome,
right
man.
down the street. Congratulations to Musso. I heard he got engaged. He said he's engaged. Lee Michael?
No, he didn't get
Good job, Musso.
What are
All
you
right, baby.
talking about?
He got engaged on the field, on the grass.
We got to get See you tomorrow.
AFR.
What is he talking about? Mold Zero USA. By the way, my guy Jim and the gang over at Mold Zero today were at St. Teresa Church in Gonzales. Beautiful church right there on Highway 44 in Gonzales. Several months back, they had noticed black spots on the ceiling. Turns out it was, in fact, mold. They called out Mold Zero, went today, sprayed. Gorgeous, mold gone, smelling brand new. Mold Zero USA for your home, for your place of worship, for your office building, whatever it may be. If you have odors or mold, our friends at Mold Zero can help. So you can check them out, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Again, this is minimally invasive. We're not cutting sheetrock. It is a patented, non-toxic dry fog. You spray it, you let the fog dissipate, you are done with mold and have a clean-smelling building. Mold-0usa.com.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we're happy to say that we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corval Toyota and choose your new Toyota today. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.